All right. Welcome, everybody, to another BDA Boxing podcast. Broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is Mr. BDA with you, and as always, with me, my co host, King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. People, let's get this out of the way right now. If you want to join us, you guys know the drill. Go to Google Hangouts, send us an instant message via the email address that's on the top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. You see it right there. It says boxingdebate@hotmail.com. We want to hear from new people, always eager to listen to new voices, but also to our regular viewers. We want to see what they have to say. We just had a heavyweight fight, supposed to set up a lot and answer a lot of questions, but maybe some people feel like it asked more, it left more questions unanswered. All right, Butcher, you're telling me I got the wrong pick, is that it?
You put Parker, man.
All right. Okay, and by the way, when I'm doing a million things at the same time, I can't focus on everything. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe you should tone down the attitude a little bit. That's just all I'm saying.
You have to do that, man.
Well, that's the thing. I have to do it. So don't get too upset if something goes wrong because you're not doing it. All right? You know what?
Right.
We should have all of our disagreements live on the air, man. We'll get more ratings, I think.
Yeah, I think we will.
I hadn't seen a body put together like that.
No, man, I'm telling you something. When we gotta go live,
people, we had two picks prepared, like two thumbnails. One was if Parker won, which he didn't. So now the thumbnail has to be Joshua wins.
Okay, Bucho, let's go down to the chat room right away, see what people have to say. Akuma's Deception, shout out to Akuma, says the referee was horrendous. Oh shit, this is moving fast. Recognize the Matrix.
The referee, I don't know. I didn't see fucking headbutts. I don't know what the fucking ref was talking about.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
But anyways, maybe he was in some instances, but he was exaggerating. After the first headbutt, he probably went
Bucho,
like,
Bucho, we gotta keep.
Joshua comes in,
We gotta keep shouting out to the people on the. We gotta keep giving a shout out to the people. You interrupted. Michael Stott says the fight was awesome. Dopamine says that was straight trash. Michael Stott says can't wait. Main event was whack, says German Persian. Recognize the Matrix. Shout out to recognizes Povetkin was a killer, or is a killer. Apology Man says what's up. Pavel, shout out to Pavel, says I was afraid for Price. Yeah, I mean David Price, poor guy. Shepherd of Sun says I think Povetkin could spark out all of these bums. Erzbet Dr. Dancing says, hey everybody, this was Anthony Joshua without PEDs, a big nothing, Coxie. Is that Mr. Coxie? Precise Puncher, shout out to Precise, says, shut up haters, golden era. German Persian says, Parker came to run, Joshua is overrated. John Gonzalez says, BDA versus Bucho. That was a long time coming, man. A long time coming. The Shepherd of Sun says, LOL. Anyway, you can see there that the chat room is moving fast. Bucho, let's get your assessment of the fight first, and then I'll go. But I mean, was this a bit of a letdown for you, or is this to be expected when two top guys get together?
I don't know what the fuck to say, man. I told everyone that Parker was gonna go 12 rounds. I had a feeling that he had a chin. Although let's be honest, it wasn't like his chin was tested that much. There weren't any punches thrown. Fuck. Parker, the most disappointing guy is Anthony Joshua, to be honest. He's the one that everybody was saying he was not gonna knock out Parker. The bets were saying that everybody was putting bets between round 4 and 6 that Parker was gonna go down. 4 and 6. He went fucking 12. He went to the whole 12 rounds.
That's true, man. And
I told my girlfriend, you know, to place $20 on Parker doesn't go down. She was like, I'll make a bet. Yeah, put 20. And she also put 20 on. She put 20 on Parker knocks out Josh in the 12th. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But I told her at least put 20 on Parker doesn't go down, which it fucking happened. So.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah, but
I expected people. I expected people to. While I was watching the fight, I was thinking, oh boy, here we go. People set the bar too high, or some people set the bar too high, and now since Joshua couldn't knock him out, it's going to be about how he sucks, how the fight sucked. Listen, let's put it all out there, all right? Let me give you my assessment of what happened. Joseph Parker, we've talked about this. We talked about this prior to the fight. You mentioned his chin, that he has a very good chin. And we also talked about Parker's defense. And we talked about how if he stepped it up, it was going to be very hard for Joshua. Now, the only dimension that was missing for Parker was good, clean punching. You could still see a lot of slapping there. So he couldn't get to Joshua. The best he could do was not get knocked out, not get beat up. And that's the reason why we got the fight that we get. But so I don't understand why we got to criticize Joshua too much. I mean, look, would it have been a great performance if Joshua would have chased him down and knocked him out cold? Absolutely. But when a guy goes, everybody knows this. You guys are experienced boxing fanatics. What happens when a good defensive fighter goes on the defensive and survival mode? It's hard to knock him out and it's hard to look good against him. So I don't understand why we're giving Joshua too much shit. I mean, what do you think, Bucho?
It's shit, man. Parker's supposed to be this fucking monster. He
Joshua,
didn't look like
Joshua,
a monster. He's like
Joshua.
a slow motherfucker who can't throw fucking punches, man.
You mean Joshua? You said Parker.
Oh, fuck. Joshua. Yes,
Right.
Joshua. He can't do shit. He sucks. And I still think he knocks out fucking Wilder, to be honest. But now
Okay.
Wilder, he knows the recipe now, the blueprint.
I think you're
Just
going.
fucking circle around Joshua, to be honest, and fucking those long arms and fucking try to go 12 rounds or something. Maybe land a right hand. He's so bad, man. This is disgusting, man.
Whoa, I mean, this is incredible. So because he could knock out Parker, you're gonna say he sucks?
Yes.
You better get your head and your
Parker
ass
sucks
wired
also,
together, or
man.
I will take a
Parker,
giant shit
who
on you.
the fuck's
What's that supposed to
Parker?
be? Some kind of sick joke?
I mean,
All right, precise on the line.
okay, but hold on. I want to get this straight because you're overreacting like you always do after a fight. Oh, the guy could knock him out. Oh, he sucks. He's overrated. He's a piece of trash.
No, it's not
Calm
about
down.
He didn't do shit. Did fucking Joshua impress you?
No, he didn't impress me, but at least he got the job
He
done.
didn't do shit.
So you
How
want
the
him to
fuck?
look? Hold on a
He
second.
didn't do anything.
You want him to look spectacular like Superman every time out? That's an
Maybe
unrealistic
not the jab,
expectation right
fucked up
there.
the guy a bit. I mean, come on.
When have you seen Parker
And I
beat
give
up?
credit to Parker, but I'm just saying this fucking Joshua hype is over now. It's
When
like
have you
he's fucking
seen
hype, he's a hype
Parker?
job.
When have you seen Parker beat up?
Never. But when have you seen Parker? He finally fought. Okay, hold on. Who has Parker fought? Exactly, nobody. Now he's fighting Joshua, and Joshua doesn't do shit. I mean, I think Andy Ruiz landed more punches on Parker.
Right.
To be honest.
But then again, that was Andy Ruiz. That Parker was fighting. This time he came in at 120%.
Now he was fighting the unified heavyweight champion, man.
Right.
The unified heavyweight champion, the fucking monster.
Okay.
Anyway, whatever.
Well, hold on. Let's
Garbage,
get to the chat room real quick before we go to Precise because I want to see what more people are saying. We Degrees in the house. Shout out to We Degree. Shout out to Mark Funk says, hearing rumors that Zab Judah and Joshua were going at it hard, and Anthony Joshua got knocked out in a wild exchange. That's why he fought like this. I don't know what he's talking about. Zab Judah. We Degree says Wilder ain't doing shit. Pop-Tart gone. Pop-Tart gone. Anthony Joshua struggled with Joseph Parker's head movement. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Steven Skillrose says weak heavyweight division. It's embarrassing. Zab Judah Dopamine says Zab Judah training camp bandit at Mark Funk strikes again. Jehobi Mixay says Joshua was very limited offensively. Avery Plays Base says Joshua now has those Triple G expectations. Exactly. I think he's got it exactly right. Lily H says, I don't think Parker sucks. He was good. He just couldn't close the distance well enough. That's one thing that I will criticize both guys for. It sucked when it came to closing the distance. When it came time for Joshua to step back, it was sensational. But when it came time to close, he was just smothering his own work. All right, so as you can see there, the chat room was moving pretty quick. I'm gonna try in between every 10 minutes. I'll try to go back to the chat room, see what people are saying. Meanwhile, we have Precise Puncher in the house, and of course, everybody, you know what that means. We're gonna get some comments here.
Dependent upon how you interpret the data.
What's up with all the transvestites in Hollywood, though?
Because if you're a postmodernist and you don't have any standards, you're always going to keep moving the goalpost, and you're never going to stick to your own standards because you don't have any standards.
All right. All right, so Precise, thank you for being on. As always, we always appreciate your participation here. We're always glad to have you. Let's set this up for us. Like, there are some people saying that this fight sucked, which I will agree, it wasn't a scintillating fight. People were expecting a war. But, I mean, come on, were people's expectations a little too high coming in here?
What's up, everybody? First and foremost, and
Right.
secondly, all the Joshua fanboys, stick a tampon in it because it's about to bleed. Now, both guys disgraced themselves, in my opinion. Joseph Parker fought like he was in New Zealand fighting fat Andy Ruiz, thinking that he just needed to do just enough and he was going to get the decision. And Anthony Joshua fought like a homeboy who was 4 rounds ahead starting, going into the first round. Neither guy really took any risks. Parker did a little bit, but when it came down to the wire, Parker needed to put it all on the line because he wasn't going to get the decision, even though I thought the fight ended up, for me, it was a draw 7-5 either way. Either way. Could have gone either way. I thought the referee was disgraceful. The AJ protection plan was in full effect. And if you're the 10-1, 8-1 favorite, you got to do a lot more. I'm sorry. You got 80,000 people. Everyone's calling you, the second coming of Jesus fucking Christ. They're comparing you to Muhammad Ali. You're going to have to do a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I will agree. I will agree there that. But then again, who was calling himself the best of all time? Was it Joshua or was it the press?
It doesn't matter. Somebody's got to take a hit on this one. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
go
ahead.
Look, I'm not trying to hate, and I give Joseph Parker props because the first 6 rounds of the fight, he did the right thing. The first 9 rounds, he did the right thing, and I thought he was outboxing Joshua in the first 6 rounds of the fight. But then when it came down to the wire and Joshua came back, he needed to put it all on the line and prove this whole Samoan fetish, and he didn't. You think Povetkin, if he gets in the ring with him, you think Povetkin is going to be fighting like a little bitch? And look, I give Parker props because he exceeded expectations, okay? And those bionic elbows, I guess that shit was true because the jab was like we haven't seen in a long time, and it gave Anthony Joshua fits. But neither one of these guys knows how to throw a fucking feint to save their lives. They don't know how to probe. Technically, these two are C-class boxers, so I don't want to hear anything about the golden era or how great these guys are because both of them suck and they disgraced themselves tonight. Tyson Fury did a lot more than either one of these two fools against Klitschko in Germany. And that's just a fact. So as much heat as Tyson Fury caught, I need to hear twice as much for both of these fucking clowns.
That's a valid argument. That's a very valid argument.
Amen.
Because again, the fans
Amen.
the fans were always criticizing Tyson Fury for his win against Klitschko and how it was boring. This wasn't that much better, man. It was.
And what did Joshua do? Jab, jab, grab?
Exactly.
Jab, jab, grab? I mean, it was like a 50-year-old fucking Klitschko in there. I mean, I thought we were done with that. I thought we had the new golden era. The motherfucker looked like an old shot Klitschko in there. Give me a break, man.
By the
And all
way,
more,
the
man.
fouling, the trickery with the tape to help old boy's stamina, and the referee stopping him when it looked like Parker might knock his ass down, and Parker was hurting him. He hurt him at least 3 times in that fight, and the referee was jumping in, and oh man, it was disgraceful.
first of all, I want to get something
Don't even
straight.
get me started about the scorecards, man.
Okay, I want to get something straight. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask because I had to shut down the fight right after it was over. But what were the scorecards? I didn't even get to hear them.
It was like 10 to 2, 9-3 is what I heard, and I just turned that shit off.
Well, let me tell you
After
this:
I
I
heard
didn't
those
see.
two, I was like, no.
I didn't see Joshua landing that much where it was. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a beatdown. I'll say this: that the Cam fight was a little bit easier for him. He actually threw combinations. Here he couldn't throw combinations. And again, part of that is because both guys were smothering their own work. But again, not a good look for boxing. I gotta add that we have Cameron on the line.
Cameron Gillon. Cameron Gillon.
He looks like he put steroids in his shit.
There you go. All right, Cameron, thank you for joining us. As always, we always appreciate you being here. Your assessment of what we just saw.
A load of shit, to be honest.
Oh.
I generally, I mean, the undercard was shocking. The main event was like lackluster as well. I was watching it downstairs. I wasn't watching it at home. I was actually watching it with my mum, and it was her first fight tonight ever. And I don't think she'll be watching another fight after that one.
Oh man.
It was pretty bad. I think it was pretty evident from early on that this fight was going to go the distance. I mean, I think I said on the last show that I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. I did say that, but I didn't expect it to be that poor. Joshua, he did what he had to. The scorecards were shocking. I thought Joshua won 8 rounds. 9 or 10 is pushing it. I thought it was a disgraceful scorecards. And I said, I put it on Twitter after. If you thought that Deontay Wilder was hesitant about coming to the UK to fight Joshua, and those scorecards aren't going to do any favours. I mean, you can say that they may not need the scorecards, but you just don't know. People think that Joshua's going to stop Parker tonight. It didn't happen. So, I thought the fight was poor. Everybody will say that. It wasn't a very good night of boxing altogether, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, listen, I will say this. Joshua is not the finest technician out there. I would say Tyson Fury, and again, I hate that we have to keep bringing him up, but it's the truth, because he was really one of the last guys out there that actually implemented a good game of feinting with solid defense. Takam is a pretty experienced guy who can do some of those things, but he doesn't have the physical weapons to compete against these type of guys. But yeah, like Precise said, no feinting, which is something that really adds to your game and really improves the performance. No feinting, too much smothering. When it came down to defense, yeah, both guys did a good job of evading shots with their, using good footwork. But when it came time to putting that offense, that's why this fight was so disappointing, And by the way, Butcher, do we have corruption in the chat in the hangout?
That is correct.
I'm very happy I placed a large bet as well, just to prove that word is bond. So who's standing tall now, you little motherfuckers?
All right, corruption in boxing in the house. Thank you for joining us, man. We always appreciate it. Now it's Bucho, Precise, Cameron. They thought the fight was trash. I'm gonna assume that you're not gonna disagree with them.
You are absolutely correct.
Well, thank God.
Your assessment.
Hey, before corruption does his piece, excuse me for just 1 second. I want to backtrack on what I said, and I want to agree with him, because as soon as I heard Eddie Hearn trying to put Dillian White in Povetkin's way, yeah, he's protecting the shit out of AJ. So go ahead, my man.
Go ahead, corruption. The floor is yours.
Yeah. BDA, on the last hangout we did when you was on your coke binge.
What?
No, we when you had your brief sabbatical, the last show.
Yes,
when
yes,
Butcher
yes.
was at the helm, we covered the fight pretty extensively. The first thing Butcher mentioned to me was that he was speaking about Joseph Parker's chin in the fight, but I mentioned that if the fight is contested at long range, chin is not really going to be an issue for either fight, and Joshua has once again demonstrated that he has absolutely no ability at long range. I mean, I've been one of the strongest proponents of this. He is so telegraphed at long range. Now, when you have a 6-inch reach advantage, you're a taller man. You've got leverage because you're also 3 or 4 inches taller. An orthodox fighter, your opponent fights with a left hand down because he's trying to use a shoulder roll for a defense. It should be relatively easy to set up your right hand. But Joshua, because he doesn't fire a right hand lead counter, he's so vanilla. He tries to set up his right hand with a straight 1-2, sometimes a left hook in the right hand. So it's very easy to see his right hand because the way he turns his shoulders and he widens his stance, so his left knee is tilted in, so he can, because he tries to sit down on the right hand. He doesn't really throw it in a relaxed manner, so it's quite easy to detect the punch from long range. But
okay, now let me ask you this. Sorry to interrupt, but let me ask you: do you think he does that because he's too eager to go for the knockout? He's too big? I mean, what do you think is the problem? Is it just a technique type of problem?
He's just cumbersome. He's just one-dimensional. He's just too vanilla. there is a perception that he fights so relaxed, but when I see him in the ring, he's not relaxed. His ability is only really at short to mid-range, but the fight was a tactical affair. It was a real estate battle. I think Parker was controlling the real estate with his jab. You know, he definitely had the advantage of hand and foot. But I'll give you an example of how poor Joshua is now. Two orthodox fighters now. Parker was able to exit to the left-hand side of Joshua pretty much every time. There wasn't one time in the fight that Joshua stepped to the right to cut off the ring. That's all he had to do, and he never did it once in 12 rounds. That shows you just how bad his IQ is in the fight.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, for a guy that won a gold medal in the Olympics. By the way, Precise, can you just remind us real quick, or anybody else, what happened with the gold medal? Was that a legit gold medal from AJ?
No.
He got 3 gifts in those Olympics. 3, not 1, 3 gifts.
Okay, so there
he
you
didn't
go.
get 3. He definitely got 1.
No, he got 3 gifts.
Well, it was in London, so come on.
Erizlandi Savon and Roberto Camoranesi got. I was at the Olympics. He got 2 gifts.
So, yeah, it wasn't
No, there were 3 gifts. 2 robberies, 3 gifts.
2 is enough, anyways.
Yeah, 2 is enough. Don't be greedy, guys.
The
greatest trick
you should have won the medal.
the devil
Savon
ever
beat you.
pulled.
That was the worst one. Savon beat him.
Well, there you go. I mean, so yeah, just to reiterate what Corruption was saying, which is that Joshua was making some fundamental mistakes, which probably means that he might not be as talented as some people make him out to be. I think he's really maybe a couple, one of the best of the bunch, but those fundamental mistakes, man, let me tell you. Oh, by the way, who do we have new in the hangout there, Pucho?
Oh, we have fucking X on the line again as well.
Alright, so we have Michael and Recognize the Matrix, and he's friends with X.
Okay.
He's friends with X.
Yeah, okay,
X
because
is celebrating
X
right
in the
now.
line.
He's celebrating.
yeah, because I wasn't here during the episode where you guys debuted Michael and Recognize the Matrix. So guys, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for being here. Glad to make your acquaintance, and I'm glad you guys are here. All right, let's start with Recognize the Matrix. What's your assessment of this fight? Do you think it was trash, like everybody's saying?
Trash, and I knew it was gonna go the distance. I knew Joshua was not gonna knock out Joseph Parker. Although at the weigh-in, Joseph Parker looked so bad, it almost made me want to change my pick. But not surprised. Like I said before, I said in a couple of videos, I think AJ is good, but not really that good. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. I thought the fight was trash. I want to say the 6th round, he looked like he was saved. He got cracked with something. I got to go back and watch that fight again. He got cracked with something. I saw the referee step in for no reason. It was fixed.
Oh, so you think it was that bad that there has to be a fix somewhere?
Of course. The A side always has a what's the word I'm looking for? It's fixed in his favor. There's the mechanisms are in place in case something might go wrong. As long as they don't have to over exaggerate. Like, if he would have just got knocked out cold, obviously there's nothing they can do about that. But the fix was in. Just like Ortiz, Wilder, same thing. When 7th round, I believe, it looked like Ortiz had Wilder going. The referee had the doctor step in and take a look at, Wilder and maybe bought him like 20 seconds. I don't know. And same thing here. The same thing here.
See, I think I'm looking at hearing what you're saying, that there was some shenanigans. So there were some shenanigans going on, and then I'm reading what people are saying in the chat room. Xavier says, "So much hate, so much salt, ha ha ha." Now, let's get this straight.
I'm an Anthony Joshua fan, just to let people know.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, but I think what's happening here right now is that the hype machine was full throttle with Anthony Joshua, and people see this. Boxing fans see this. They're putting this guy out there as the next big thing. The number one guy that's gonna dominate forever, and all of a sudden he struggles. So people go, well, wait a minute, this guy was supposed to knock everybody out. So I think that's one of the things that's happening here as well. And also, of course, the fight was disappointing. All right, Michael, your assessment of the fight, if you will. Michael, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All
you
right.
guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys will probably cover more. But stuff you guys haven't brought up yet.
Go ahead.
Did you guys notice how Anthony Joshua was like pulling his head down to try to land that uppercut he landed with Klitschko?
Yeah, he's always done that, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's his only weapon, it seemed like, throughout the whole fight, other than his long reach.
And you also have to wonder...
like he is...
Yeah, you also have to wonder when a referee is going to start warning him about it.
Yeah, that ref was kind of...
Now, okay, let me ask you...
Yeah, that ref was weak.
I'll start with Michael. Michael, in the late rounds, both guys started to get a little heated under the collar. There was a lot of punching in between the breaks. Even when the ref said break, the ref had to huddle along with them and instruct them to stop bullshitting. Do you think Parker was, or who was more frustrated, Parker or Joshua? Let's start with that.
I think Joshua, actually, because it looked like Parker was like smiling and kind of taunting him. Like, I was wishing he would do more of what like Precise was advising him to do, was like kind of taunt him and make him fucking tired and try to go for a knockout. But he didn't really do that as much. He was trying to taunt him with that jab, but I think it was wearing out his own energy doing that bullshit. And when they got tangled up, yeah, Anthony Joshua did his thing where he grabs his head and tries to land that right uppercut.
Yeah, that goddamn grabbing behind the head and the uppercut, that is very dangerous because it can lead to one of those out cold knockouts that we love to see, but at the same time, we don't want to see them if it's because of a dirty tactic. Bucho, let me ask you this, man. I did catch in the post-fight interview, the interviewer asked Joshua to give a rating, to rate his performance. And Joshua said, I don't have to rate my performance, that's for my coach. Was that a bit of a mini Lennox Lewis moment where he knows he should have done...
Lennox Lewis, Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah.
You know, he has so much pride, he can't even criticize himself. He can't even admit that he put on a poor performance. I mean, this guy is fucking garbage. Even his attitude is garbage. He's delusional. He really believed his own fucking hype, man.
The whole division's shocking, man. The whole fucking division's shocking.
I don't care anyway. I don't care about Wilder Joshua anymore. It's like it's a heavyweight fight between two champions, two C-level fucking champions. How exciting is that? That fight's gonna suck anyway.
I was speaking to somebody earlier on before the fight. Speaking to somebody that I know follows boxing quite deeply, and we were talking about how poor this era is. I mean, it's shocking, the heavyweight division.
Yeah, who's claiming that the heavyweight division is back? I don't understand why it's back.
Well, I was starting...
It's just because people are motivated by something other than boxing, good fights and boxing skill. And it's apparent if you read the chat room, because whenever I seem to have a strong opinion about somebody, all these fucking cultural Marxists want to bring up nationality and race when I never talk about that shit. When have I ever waved any fucking flag? Once you get a motherfucker that starts talking boxing, and start like you, Bucho, or I, or some of the other panelists, because a lot of you clowns out there can't keep up, or you're not on the level where you could actually discuss boxing. You gotta start pulling the fucking race card or start waving your fucking flag. Nobody gives a fuck about your flag or your race, man. As far as boxing level goes, this shit was garbage, man. This shit was trash. The product was horrible, and it was. You can't hype it up to these super, super high levels and then expect people to accept it when it's just fucking average. Come on. Somebody got to take some responsibility here.
Imagine an MMA fan who doesn't watch boxing often. Hold on. Just say this. Imagine an MMA fan who rarely watches boxing. He's like, you know what? I rarely watch boxing, but I'm going to watch the highest level boxing fight that there is right now. Because I want to see, that's what I want to see. I want to see two high level boxers fight. Oh, here we go, a unification heavyweight bout. I'm gonna watch this, and then they watch this garbage. This isn't elite boxing. Let's be honest.
No thanks. Dude,
No,
they
nothing,
teach you
no
how to
feints.
paint in the fucking
No
amateurs
setting up
101.
punches.
See,
Give
see,
me a
Eddie,
break.
Eddie
I'm so
Hearn.
better feints than these dudes.
Hold on. Let's corruption in boxing. Corruption. What do you want to say?
See, Eddie Hearn has the luxury of. He knows that when it comes to these pay-per-views involving Joshua, demand and price is inelastic. So what he can pretty much do whatever, but the demand will pretty much still be there because of the sheer volume of these dumbass casuals. The event almost takes precedence over the quality of the fight. Now we saw a little bit in after the Carlos Takam fight where the public got a little bit frustrated. There was some booing, certainly when Eddie Hearn took the mic, and a little bit when Joshua took the mic as well. But it's very easily to pacify these people when you put in. All you've got to do is you've just got to put into the ring somebody with an undefeated record with a belt, and that automatically sways the public because they simply don't know the sport. They don't know the caliber of the fighters. It's just very easy to manipulate them, to hypnotize them. I mean, look at the overall event. It was just sheer garbage, and it's almost symptomatic of every single Sky Sports standard Saturday night event on Sky Sports itself, and also all of the pay-per-views as well. They've all been garbage. But has that been reflected in the demand for the fights or the tickets or the pay-per-view? No, because it's inelastic. And Eddie Hearn knows that, and hence he can continue to financially rape the dumbass British public.
I will agree with that, man. That's one thing that's also a problem here in the United States, for example, or in North America, I should say. For example, no matter what happens between Canelo and Golovkin, if the fight does end up taking place, people are still going to watch it, despite all the outside of the ring drama. I just want to reiterate something because Unstable Poker in the chat room made a good comment. He said, I mean, I don't agree. He says the panelists are crazy. I don't agree that you guys are crazy, but I do agree with what he says here when he says the highest levels are always close to zero in equilibrium. You can't expect an all-out slugfest. No, but I agree with him. Look, listen, for anybody that's just tuning in, everybody, all the panelists here think the fight was trash, and they have a right to voice their opinion, especially when a fight of this caliber is promoted so highly, especially when a guy like Anthony Joshua is put in as a savior. I'll tell you again, I'll reiterate my opinion. I agree with Poker when he says when you get two guys at this level, it's not always going to be a slugfest. It's not always going to be an all-out slugfest. But is it really, can we really blame our panelists to expect a little something more?
The key point very quickly is that all of us, myself, Precise, and Butcher, we pretty much anticipated a dire affair.
And not only that,
repeatedly spoke about how the bout was between two C-level fighters, so it didn't harbor any interest in us. And we spoke about that for weeks now.
And not only that,
and that was a strong argument.
I just want to say something here, man.
No one's talking about a slugfest
all right. Let me just say this.
I mean, it would have been nice to see a slugfest, but that's not the point. What I'm talking about is the low level of technical ability, because if you got the skill, you're going to make the fight more exciting, more fun.
Yeah.
It's
right.
That's really what it comes down to. Also, not having the skill, because you don't have the skill, you don't have the confidence in your skill to open up, because you don't got the skill.
Exactly. Now, here's what I wanted to say. Also, you guys are making this. I think you're going a little too far saying they're trash. But that being said, you are voicing valid complaints. It's not like you're just saying, "Oh, the fight was trash." You're actually explaining why you thought it was trash, and I agree with most of it. Here's the thing that's going on with fighters like Anthony Joshua. I'll say this again: the promoters are using compression on them to try to boost C-level fighters into B-plus fighters. Now, I thought I was a little higher on Anthony Joshua going into the fight. I'm not going to say that I'm still as high on him as I was before. But when I say that I was high on him, I'm not saying I thought he was the number one guy and that he was going to whoop everybody. But he showed a lot of fundamental mistakes in there that you guys have pointed out. And so I think it's important to try to keep a balanced look on this. But yes, the fight was a disappointment. And I got to ask, Gaia 500 or Supercomputer, or what did you think of the fight?
My anus looks better than this fight.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's a little disgusting, and I don't know how a computer has an anus. But guys, let's move on from this. I mean, Wes, we can agree that the
I'm
fight.
hearing in the chat, there's some people are saying it's a clash of styles. That's why this fight ended up the way it ended up.
Okay,
Clash
freestyle,
of styles.
freestyle. Who wants to counter that argument? Go ahead, anybody.
I do.
Go ahead, Precise.
When you look at their previous fights, they're oftentimes not very exciting.
Mhm.
Joshua, Golovkin can make any fight exciting. You know what I mean? He just will. He had a guy running away from him, and it was still a damn good fight, right? It's not clash of styles because both guys have a high KO ratio, and both guys beat everybody's ass, or at least tried to. Because they've been overmatched, their opponents have been overmatched. They've been able to just open up and unload on them.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it really comes down to the skill. And like Corruption said, I told you guys I wasn't hyped about this fight. How long have I been saying this? For 2 years I've been saying it. I told you I'm not excited about the fight. I don't think it's going to be that great. And Kiwi Box in the chat room was kind of, clowning me a little bit, saying that I was more excited about Povetkin Price. And I didn't want to sound like a dickhead, but I was. And, that was probably just as competitive of a fight. But Alexander Povetkin's skill and ability allowed him to get inside and knock his opponent out.
Mm-hmm.
While at the same time, he does have skill. He's just a punk, but he does have skill, and his defense sucks. But offensively, he has skill. He was able to land a good punch too, give us some drama, almost put Povetkin down. It looked like he could win the fight. You know what I mean? And the ending was short and fucking sweet. And that was a lot better than, that 12-round pussyfooting session.
I will agree, man. In 2-3 rounds, or I forget how long the Povetkin fight went, a lot more entertaining than what Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker offered. Now, here's the thing: does this lower Anthony Joshua's stock in terms of pay-per-view, or like Corruption in boxing said, are the fans in general that duped that they don't care what happens next? They're just gonna go on to the next pay-per-view and shell out big bucks to pay to watch Anthony Joshua fight?
I don't think so. I think in terms of his fans in the UK, they'll buy every single fight of his.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the guys said that there's a lot of casuals that are fans of his, so they'll continue to buy his fights. They'll amp up or hype up the next opponent, and yeah. I don't think it's gonna. Is it gonna hurt him like around the world? Yeah, I think it'll do that. But in terms of his main fans, his hardcore fans, the casuals, I don't think it'll hurt him at all. I think he'll do. I think he's gonna do just fine. Eddie Hearn is a really good promoter.
They'll put Joshua against a bum and knock him out.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll put him against a bum or a guy that they'll hype up. But stylistically, will get knocked out or get beat up, and he'll be back to business again.
Weren't there fewer people there than in this previous fight with Takam? And this was a big unification. But weren't there fewer people, or am I making this up? I feel like the attendance has dipped just a little bit. And there were tickets available hours before the fight. Not many, but I think there was still tickets available.
I wouldn't know about that. Anybody know? Cameron, do you know anything about that?
About the official figure, but I heard there was actually more for this fight than the Takam fight. I think the Takam fight was 78,000.
Yeah, that's what somebody's saying in the chat.
No, 70,000. Yeah, there was slightly more for this fight, I believe, but I could be wrong.
That makes sense.
Well, who's he gonna fight next if he doesn't fight Wilder? And I mean,
King.
You should fight.
That's what that was, right?
That's who he should fight.
He was promoted. He had a exhilarating, awesome highlight reel knockout in the fight. You can make a nice little reel.
They can play that shit 1,000 times.
That was the highlight of the night. David Price making the veteran do a little dance. He was fucking rocked to his boots, the veteran.
It was a beauty of a left hook, wasn't it?
Price done really well. He done really, considering he was out of his depth from the first bell. He done well. Like he hanged in there.
Yeah, he just had no chance. He was in there with the better guy, but he tried. He did his. He came to win, and that's what you got to appreciate. He put it all on the line. Parker and AJ didn't. So I give David Price a lot more credit than the guys in the main event.
I want to see that fight. I want to see, if it's not, I want to see that Joshua Povetkin fight. I think
of course.
Povetkin's gonna, it's not gonna be Povetkin's gonna go in there and he's gonna fucking go for it. He's not gonna dance around like, Parker and fling out this little jab. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna look like that and bomb. He's gonna give Joshua a lot of problems.
If the WBA
Eddie's fucking shaking in his boots seeing that knockout.
Well, right. First of all,
what the fuck is with Dillian White being like AJ's and Eddie's bitch and the gatekeeper to the palace where AJ resides? What the fuck's that all about?
You know that
like every dangerous fight that's out there for Joshua, Hearns like, yeah, look, it's Dillian White here. Fight him first. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of bullshit.
That's his.
Dillian White is like Goro now. He's like before you fight the boss.
Yeah.
Dillian White is his bulletproof best man.
Butcher brings up a good point. Is Dillian White right now like sort of like the gatekeeper that if you want to get to Joshua Wilder, you have to beat Dillian White?
He's Goro, man.
No, because Dillian White, as weird as it sounds, Dillian White is actually a contender, but they're using him as a pawn. That's what they're using. That's what they're doing with him. Like, their pet project is Joshua, and they're using White as a sacrificial lamb to keep him away from Joshua as long as possible and let him milk the cow. That's basically what's going on here.
Exactly how Derek Chisora described him as a spare tire.
Oh, Jesus. Ah, man, these guys are pretty rough on each other.
You heard Eddie Hearn, right? Did you hear him in that? I think it was an IFL interview. He was talking to Dillian White before the Lucas Brown fight. He said, you beat, I think it was before or after the Lucas Brown fight. He's like, you beat Deontay Wilder, you get Anthony Joshua next. I guess that's like his prize if he comes through and knocks off any dangerous contender for Joshua. And I tell you one thing, with him saying that, Povetkin has to fight Dillian White, that gave some Wilder fans some validations about this whole Dillian White thing. I think either guy, Wilder or Povetkin, would knock out Dillian White.
Povetkin does not have to fight Dillian White. That's absolute bollocks. He's the mandatory for the WBO and WBA. Joshua holds the title. The WBA will call the mandatory in November. Rabinski should just say, fuck off to Eddie Hearn. We're not accepting no step aside, nothing. We're going to enforce that fight. Period.
I wonder, right, because Povetkin done his post-fight interview and Dillian White came out of nowhere. I mean, Povetkin must have been like, who the fuck is this guy? He might probably didn't even heard of Dillian White. He was caught, you know what I mean? Because Dillian White came out of nowhere. He was like, yeah, I'll fight Povetkin. Povetkin walked off. I mean, he doesn't want to be part of that. He doesn't need to fight. He doesn't need to fight White. He's a mandatory for Joshua. He wants that fight. He's earned that fight. Fucking make the fight.
Exactly. And he's 38 years old. And he is the best heavyweight, the most proven heavyweight today. The best one. Without the shadow of a doubt. Let me explain. And he's 38 years old, and he's only had one fucking title shot in his entire career. That man deserves another fucking title shot. And the reason why I say he's the best heavyweight today is because of his resume, and because if he had the protection that AJ enjoyed in England against Klitschko in Russia, he would have beaten him. Okay? Definitely. Because Klitschko wouldn't be allowed to do that to him. He would have ground him down and probably put him down and won like a close decision. My humble opinion.
Okay, well I'll say this.
That was the prime Klitschko.
I want to say this. Akuma's Deception is saying you guys are reactionary as fuck. If it's not a slugfest or KO, then it's a shit fight. Let me say this. Hold on. Let me say this. Vladimir Klitschko had a shit ton of shit fights that looked like this. A lot of clinch. The only difference was sometimes he was able to stop his opponents because he tired them down with his clinches. But his fight, what Joshua did tonight and what Parker did as well, was you saw that from Klitschko 10 times in a row. So I mean, is this era worse or better than the Klitschko era?
But Klitschko got criticized like crazy, always and forever. So that's gone now. Now it's time to bitch about fucking Anthony Joshua's jab, grab.
Because of one performance.
Grab. Isn't that what we saw?
But because
Dirty
of one
tactics,
performance.
Elbows, headbutts. Like, come on, dude.
But come on, because of one performance.
It's worse than Klitschko.
I've had people on Twitter tonight Joshua fanboys telling me, because I said that it was just a poor, it was a poor fight, and I had Joshua fanboys on my Twitter giving me shit, saying it was a great performance. People were offering me fights and everything. I mean, Joshua fanboys, they're just the worst.
Listen,
I mean, he won the fight, but it wasn't a great fight. This was just.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. The right man won, but don't sit here and say it was a great performance. Because
it wasn't. It wasn't. But I'm curious as to why a lot of people, not only here but in the chat room, are ready to throw Joshua under a bus because of one lousy performance.
No, not me. I wouldn't. I'm still interested in seeing Joshua fight, Povetkin or even Deontay Wilder. Maybe even a Dillian White. Let's say if Dillian White fights Povetkin or Wilder and knocks either one of those guys out, there's still exciting fights for him to have. This wasn't a great fight. It was boring. It kind of went the way I expected. I thought it would be more action, right? I thought there would be some more action, especially out of AJ. I thought he would push the fight a little bit more. But, I mean, look, Vladimir Klitschko got tons of heat for, his clinching performances. And I thought that some of the fights that they criticized him were more exciting than what we saw today. A lot of that had to do with, I personally believe that the Klitschkos had better skills in their
great
prime.
offense.
They were better.
Great offense.
Better fighters. Right, with offense, they were better offensive fighters than Anthony Joshua, and he still has time to get better, right? I mean, as of right now, what I'm seeing from Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, I don't think he could compete with the Klitschko brothers in their prime. I give Alexander Povetkin a hell of a shot to beat him, even at 38, and considering that he's going to be undersized and that he's going to be facing the much bigger man in that fight, I still give him a 50-50, at least a 50-50 chance to beat Anthony Joshua if they were to fight. Anthony Joshua might win, but I give him a hell of a shot to win that fight.
I agree with that. And I will say one thing, BDA, there's a difference between, I don't think anybody's throwing Joshua under the bus, but, because we're not sitting here and saying, he's shit, blah, 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 blah. We're just, I think it's fair to criticise him for tonight. I think that's, it's fair to criticise that performance.
Yeah, I agree. But just the tone that I'm hearing here tonight and, saying that the heavyweight division is garbage and this is garbage. I mean, it's not the golden era. Again, I don't even know what the golden era exactly would be. But if it's not the golden era, we can all agree with that. But I don't think it's the, and people in the chat too, some people are saying, it's, this was a shit fight. Yes, it wasn't an entertaining fight. Both guys could have done a lot better, especially from all the hype that they were putting on us. But now here's the thing. I want to go back, because we already talked about this. I want to talk about Povetkin, because you guys were talking about him and how his chances against Joshua. Joshua, and I think we can all agree, started to look a little tired after the 6th round, breathing a little heavily. Meanwhile, Povetkin, he's gone 12 rounds a couple of times. He's an active puncher. He's an active boxer. He likes to throw a lot of shots. What do you reckon his chances are against Joshua if the fight goes late? Do you think he can outwork Joshua or maybe even take him into deep waters? Anybody?
Well, I will say one thing about that. And Povetkin is still dangerous later in the fight as well. That's going to be a problem for Joshua.
Agree. I definitely agree. If it goes...
He comes to fight, and he could take a punch, man. But I think Joshua might stop him late. But I don't know, man. He will definitely get inside and be able to get off punches. The problem is that whenever he gets close to AJ, the referee's going to be on his back, trying to jump him, grabbing his hands, and then doing all that other bullshit. And if he hurts Joshua, the referee's going to be all over him, pulling him off Joshua. That type of shit. And we saw this. And as far as me talking about a headbutt, because somebody's complaining in the chat room, I was talking about how he cut with his head Klitschko in that fight. In this fight, he cut his opponent with the elbow. So he's very slick and versatile when it comes to that kind of fighting. So, I think he deserves a lot of credit because of how hyped up he is and how people are saying he's this and he's that. Klitschko's fought in front of 50,000, 60,000 people too. Like, and lots of people were excited about Klitschko's. It had nothing to do with boxing skill, because obviously they were better. It had everything to do with nationalism, you know. And this is a boxing channel. We're all boxing fans. So all these nationalistic fans who didn't appreciate the Klitschko and are swinging off AJ's nuts, they're not going to understand what's happening here. You know what I mean?
So, you know, I want to see whoever beats Povetkin will have, you know, 'cause let's be honest, if you know, Joshua Wilder, Povetkin is the best heavyweight out there right now who isn't a champion by far. So whoever beats him, for me, would have beaten the best heavyweight out there that's not a champion. So for me, Joshua should take that fight because he'll get a lot of credibility for that win. A lot of credibility. It'd be a much better win in all
Russia, though. He should go to Russia so that we get a fair fight, hopefully.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because if it happens in England...
That's not happen, is it? But yeah.
Yeah, man, if it happens in England, it's going to be for Anthony Joshua all the way.
Go to Russia and win? Oh, man. You know what that would do for him?
Well, how about it?
It's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen, is it? He ain't going to go to Russia.
It's actually a good idea, you know. I mean, you can deliberately not come to an agreement and allow the fight to go to purse bids.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's a contest between the Rabinski and Eddie Hearn, I think Rabinski is winning that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a billionaire guy, right?
It's not a bad show.
And from a...
I heard the fight's gonna happen in the UK. Like, I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly that money is running out, or they're not. They said basically that they're willing to fight in England. That's fine. I think Eddie will just pay him a shit ton of fucking money, and they'll fight in England.
You know what?
Because you saw how Klitschko raped them in fucking Russia, where you thought Povetkin was gonna be, you know, the A side. How Klitschko was able to get away with all that bullshit. So Povetkin and his people, I think, realize that it doesn't matter if the fight is in Russia, because Eddie's gonna have his referee, his judges, and all that other shit anyway. Because the whole world just hates Russia. Let's just keep it real, man.
From a PR point of view, Joshua going...
He's willing to come over here for the actual fight. So yeah, I would agree.
I just want to say that from a PR point of view, Joshua should go to Russia, because I don't think... Has he ever had a big fight outside of the UK?
No, he's never had one fight outside the UK.
He's never fought outside of the UK? Okay, he's going to remedy that.
Not fought outside the UK, no.
Okay, there you go. I think it's time he steps out of the UK in order to raise his profile a little bit, just to...
Yeah, he's not gonna. He's already said in his post-fight that he's not even prepared to go to the United States. He's not living the confines of the United Kingdom, so you can pretty much...
He can't win without his advantages. That's another problem. He can't win without all his advantages. Parker was on his ass. And just as the fight got exciting, the referee stops in, and I'm not supposed to be fucking upset. You know what I mean? As a boxing fan.
Wait a minute, are you
as soon as the fight got exciting, he buzzed him. He jumped all over him. The ref wants to get involved. Give me a break.
Joseph Parker landed 55 more body shots. Joshua's, and basically the judges totally overlooked his body punching. You know, 55 more. That's my own figures that I was, you know, compiling. So. That pretty much says, you know, exactly how the judges are calibrated.
I mean,
he won 6 rounds to me. He won 6 rounds. Period.
You saw the stats before, and the referee, that was only his 8th world title fight. That says it all. That says it all, man. The referee was a shocker.
Some Italian faggot.
Yeah. Oh man,
he's the Andre Ward of the UK.
Yeah.
But how come the UK always gets Italian judges? There's referees. There's always Italian referees in UK fights. I don't know. I noticed that.
Yeah, first of all, I just checked Wikipedia, and it says that Joshua has never fought as a professional outside of the UK. So, you guys are right. He's never done that. And like Corruption said, Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they're so set in their ways, and they think that they are indeed the shit, that I think the chances of seeing Anthony Joshua fighting outside the UK are pretty slim. But listen, we're talking about Anthony Joshua's chances against Povetkin, or rather Povetkin's chances against Anthony Joshua. I'd have to rewatch the fight. I didn't see Parker winning 6 rounds. But again, look, I'd have to rewatch the fight. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, so it was kind of hard to stay as focused as you would like. But let's talk.
I gave him about 4 or 5 rounds.
4 or 5 rounds. Well, yeah, there you go. I mean, it was a very nip and tuck performance. A lot of holding, a lot of smothering, and we have to.
Points away from the tape.
Was that?
The fight was boring.
Yeah, the fight wasn't entertaining.
I was taking points off for the tape. The tape malfunction, that shit was on purpose, so I took some points off. You know, like spitting out your mouth.
Right.
Shit.
That's what my brother was saying too, man. But I was watching it with my brother. He was saying the same thing. He was like,
"Yeah,
this guy has no stamina. This is purposely done."
Of course.
I think so, man. Because again, back in the ESP, I think it was a couple of years ago in Friday Night Fights, they used to have this sort of like thing that would cover around the wraps, so that you wouldn't have that problem anymore. That was a couple of years ago. All of a sudden, that disappeared, and now we're back to using tape, cheap tape, that when it gets wet, the glue on sticks, and it just...
Bro, Gorilla tape that bitch. That shit ain't coming off for 3 years.
Exactly. It's been coming off for more than 3 years.
Back in the 1990s, guys.
Exactly.
Jesus.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean?
Now, okay, the big thing then, which we haven't touched upon now, is Anthony Joshua versus Wilder. Now, I wanted to wait before Joshua fought, before I started commenting on the Wilder fight, but guys, now that that's done with, I'll start with Michael. Michael, does this hurt Joshua's chances against Wilder, or are they the same for you, as they always were?
Does this hurt Joshua's chances?
Yeah. Or is it the same thing for you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole question.
Well, does this change your perception of an Anthony Joshua Wilder fight, or is this it changed nothing in your eyes?
A little bit. It exposed a little bit. It exposed a little bit of Anthony Joshua's defense, and his vulnerability. So I think, like, I mean, neither guy is really like, I mean, everyone's gonna think they're the two best guys on the planet, but I think either guy can knock each other out, and it's like. You know where we're gonna say. So, I mean, it's like I think Wilder has a better chance of actually knocking Anthony Joshua out, because, I mean, Parker made him look vulnerable at times, and the ref had to kind of like do some stupid ass things that he was doing. So, the commentary in the live broadcast was even saying, "What's the ref doing?" So, I mean, it's obvious, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Wilder's gonna punk him.
Oh, so you're picking Wilder to beat Anthony Joshua. Is that an official prediction right now?
No, I mean, I gotta see Wilder fight too.
Right.
But what's gonna happen is that Wilder's gonna punk him. He's with this speed and his length and his power and explosiveness and awkward angles. He's gonna shut Anthony Joshua's confidence down, and it's gonna be a very like tentative, slow punching match. They're gonna be trying because. They're gonna be trying to knock each other out with one punch.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're gonna be scared to open up.
Was that Bucho?
Yep. I said Wilder can beat Joshua in the U.S. He just has to circle around and keep a distance and fucking just go to a decision.
Yep.
What the fuck is Joshua gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think he beat him on a level playing field. You know what I mean? Like, where's the fight gonna be at? That's so important.
Yep.
Couldn't beat this guy in Germany. I'm not sure he would have beaten Parker in New Zealand.
Let me ask Corruption in boxing this. Corruption, we saw Joshua coming in at a trim, or relatively trim, 245 pounds, I believe. I think I might be wrong, but I think he was around 240 something pounds. He still looks low against Parker. Is this because Parker is that fast, or is it because Joshua is never going to be a speed demon?
I mean, Parker would always have the advantage of hand and foot. I mean, we spoke about it in the preview fights. But for a fighter who's actually losing that amount of, you're not going to get the accumulative advantages from just losing that amount of weight within the last 3-4 weeks. It takes a long time for your body to to recalibrate. You're dealing with less weight, so your reactions and everything is so much different. So when Joshua was even fighting at around 220. He wasn't that active. I saw him gassed out in the amateurs in the second and third round. So those are just inherent characteristics in his, in his DNA makeup. He's not a. Although he was boasting a little bit that he was able to last 12 rounds, but come on, man, when it's a tactical affair fought at long range. It was just pretty much a jazz. It was pretty much just a jab fest, a real estate battle. That's all it was. So you're not really exerting any mental, any physical will on your opponent. So you can pretty much fight at your at a one pace and then last the 12 rounds. So, but it makes no difference. Deontay Wilder knocks AJ out. I rarely get a prediction wrong, and in my betting over the last 2 years, I've accumulated well over 25,000-30,000 pounds. So I'll even remortgage my house. Wilder knocks him out.
Oh boy, that's that's my goodness gracious.
You're the fucking reason this country's going down the drain.
No, of course I'm kidding. But look, man. Okay, so with that being said,
I think AJ. I still say AJ beats him. I say AJ.
Yeah, me too.
How is AJ going to beat him? I'm just curious.
Because. Okay, go ahead.
I got Wild.
What I was gonna say was, look, there's obviously some issues with Anthony Joshua, stamina being one of them, right? That's going to be key against a guy like Deontay Wilder, and of course, you got to watch out for his power and all that. I mean, I get that. The problem with Wilder, if he becomes like Precise said, sort of like a fight like what he had with Parker, where it's very tactical. They're not really throwing any punches. I think that favors the better boxer. That will favor AJ. And it also depends on where the fight happens at. If he has stamina issues, of course, if it comes down to the later rounds, I'm going to favor Deontay Wilder to win. If it's like they're going bombs, they're just going to let it all out, I still favor AJ because he just has the better punching technique. And it's not saying much because Wilder's punching technique is horrible. Although if he hits you, yeah, he's going to knock you out. He's going to hurt you.
But my thing with that is,
I have to favor the better boxer in that situation until proven wrong.
I agree with that. I think he's going to outbox him for a little bit, but he's not going to be able to take his power, and Wilder's going to be better able to take AJ's power because Wilder has crazy, weird, irregular head movement, and he's not easy to hit cleanly. He really isn't. And I think he's going to be even able to sort of kind of punch through AJ's gloves and guard and get around that guard, rabbit punch him, do the wild shit that he does, that he's going to take AJ's punches better. But I think AJ will outbox him, and Wilder will get a series of knockdowns or stop him, because AJ looked chinny as fuck to me in this fight tonight.
Yeah, he does.
It really depends on where the fight takes place. Like we all said.
Yeah.
I'm with that. I think it depends where the fight takes place.
Actually, I disagree.
But when I break it down technically, I'm assuming it's on a level playing field. Right?
That's what I was going to say. I disagree. I don't think if it takes place in Luxembourg or in Cambodia or wherever, if AJ brings his people and Eddie Hearn is able to pull off a couple of magic tricks behind the scenes, I think things are looking pretty dangerous for Deontay Wilder, man. I'll just say it.
In
I'll
my
just put it that
opinion,
way.
yeah, it depends on how Wilder approaches this fight. If he looked at this fight, he's gonna be smart and he's gonna be like, okay, you can actually outbox Anthony Joshua. You just have to fucking keep your distance, good job, and circle around the guy. The guy's like RoboCop. He can't fucking move. But if Wilder goes like, I'm the knockout specialist, I have to knock out Joshua, and he actually tries to knock out Joshua, I think Joshua counters him and he's going to get him out of there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he's too wild. He has no defense.
I think, what Bucho just said is actually what I was trying to say, just messed it up. Exactly that. If Wilder tries to go in and try to knock him out, exactly what Bucho said, I think AJ wins the fight.
He's not going to do that, though. He's going to stay outside and he's going to take his sweet ass time, because that's what he does. No matter who he fights, he takes his time and waits for the opportunity, and then he explodes. It's kind of like how AJ fought Klitschko. Kind of took his time and then would explode here and there. Wilder's going to do that, only it's going to be there's going to be a lot more of those skirmishes from him. Those blitzes. And I don't think AJ is going to be able to handle that mentally or physically. I think he's going to... Look, to be able to box well, and AJ definitely has that ability, and it really shows when he's shadow boxing, But to be able to do that in the ring, you have to be relaxed. You have to be loose. You're in front of 80,000, 90,000 people potentially against the biggest puncher you've ever faced. And he's herky-jerky and weird, and he's hitting you from different angles. AJ's not going to be loose and relaxed like he is in the gym. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's shown that already a few times.
He freezes up just a little bit because it's that fear of getting caught. And he showed that's why he didn't knock out Parker.
Yeah, I agree, man. If he tastes Wilder's power, he's gonna get tired. The stress might tire him out. Then again, let me put it to you this way, guys. After what we've seen tonight, does Luis Ortiz put up a good fight against Joshua, or does he get exterminated? Just to put things into perspective.
Nah.
See the same out.
Nah.
Ortiz is too old for me. Nah.
Yeah, he's 43.
I give him a good shot. I probably wouldn't pick him, but I give him a good shot.
There you go. Yeah, I just wanted to put things into perspective.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to put things into perspective too. Like Ortiz fought Wilder, and so now that we saw Joshua struggle a little bit against Parker, how would that was the Ortiz win a good one for Wilder, or was it again just a 45-year-old guy getting knocked out?
45-year-old.
But he had that 1 round and a half where he was a beast and dangerous and had Wilder all over the place.
Right.
Can Joshua survive that?
That's a very good question.
Who would outbox? I think.
Well, with that three, he probably would.
Who would outbox and embarrass Joshua? And he's a cruiserweight. Usyk.
Yeah.
He would outbox his ass. If he don't get caught,
he might.
If he doesn't get caught, right, with a big shot, I say whether he gets the decision or not, if it goes 12 rounds, everyone, that are sane-minded, they'll say, damn, I think Usyk just beat him 9 rounds to 3, 10 rounds to 2, something like that.
Usyk outboxes Joshua. Fuck that, man, for sure.
Yeah, he would outbox him easy, I think. I agree. I think he would outbox him easy. It's all going to come down to whether or not he could take, his punches.
Whether he fights him in the UK or not.
I think
depends where he take that heavyweight power. That's the question about that.
No, I agree. I agree with that because who knows if he can take a heavyweight punch? We don't know.
Dude, he's just as big as Parker. What are you guys talking about? The guy is Parker's size.
I think he goes to 230. No, because Parker was 239, and that's his lowest weight ever, I believe. Usually,
Parker got bitch tits. He's a chubby Samoan, man. No, I mean, no offense,
precise. How far
I'm just
do you
saying,
think?
he's got a high body fat percentage. Let me be politically correct. The dude got a pretty high body fat percentage. Usyk is shredded.
Do you think he goes up to 230 or more?
I think he's going to be right around 230, 225. But that's functional weight. If Parker was in Usyk's shape and he could throw that many punches, he would be 222. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the thing. Usyk is fast on his feet with his hands. You should expect him to be able to take just as good of a punch as Parker. And he's got better head movement, better defense, throws many more punches, and he's a southpaw.
I'm gonna bet on that shit.
When Usyk gets in the ring on fight night, he looks 215, 220. And with that kind of movement, right? Let's say he adds another 5 to 10 more pounds on fight night. Would that affect his movement? No, I don't think it'll affect his movement really in a fight, which is what he's going to need. And if he's able to do some of the things that I've seen him do already in his career, unless he can't take a big punch from a man that big, and but if he could, it's an easy fight for a guy like Usyk.
Let me say this. I'm starting to believe, because if Parker made Joshua look this slow, you have to wonder what Usyk would do. But again, this would all depend. We got a new subscriber. Okay, that's BDA Boxing. Jesus.
It's still working anyways.
Yeah, okay. I just want to say that if it like reverse the Matrix. It all depends on whether Usyk can do what he is always been able to do at cruiserweight, move. And let's be honest about this. Yes, Usyk is good, but he would be fighting a 250-pound guy. So it all depends on whether he can keep him away and whether the referee doesn't allow Joshua to just pull off, some of his dirty tricks in there.
Mr. BDA.
Yes.
Well, obviously, yeah. Come on, no, Joshua's gonna try to grab up on him and wrestle him, and he's gonna try to do what Klitschko did to Povetkin.
Right.
And he's gonna get praised for it.
Yes, corruption. You want to say something? Corruption.
Who?
Corruption in boxing.
Yeah. Just a bit of a sign. I've got a trivia question for yourself and Butcho.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Joseph Parker's parents,
Yeah.
Between them, how many siblings do they have?
I'm gonna guess around 20 something.
Butcho?
I don't know, 7?
53.
Jeez.
What?
I was way off.
Wait, what the fuck? What? Okay.
63.
Are they swingers or something or what?
Hey, let's check the gene pool and give them a test to see how it matches up with Anthony Joshua's.
Maybe they're related, man. Maybe it's like George W. Bush and John Kerry. Maybe
how many kids Bronner has?
Brothers and sisters, Butcho.
Okay.
Brothers and sisters. My goodness.
Wow, man.
And God bless you for that.
27, his mother is 26, I believe.
Jeez Louise. By the way,
But they were exterminated, so now they gotta bring their numbers back up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, you'd have no problem. You'd have no problem sliding inside of that woman, would you? That fucking baby she's out there.
I didn't hear that last part.
TVs in their household.
Oh, okay. Well.
I said, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I said you wouldn't have any problem getting inside that one, would you?
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
You don't have any idea of the facts.
So are you being serious, corruption? Does he really, between them, they have 50-something children?
Yes.
This is what happens in population.
At the age of 10, at 10 years old, you're out on your own. Get out.
Exactly.
That's not right. That's not right, because let's be honest, you could have one of those kids would have been 40 odds, and they'd still be producing gold.
Imagine being pregnant for 25 years.
My goodness gracious. Yeah, her womb must be all busted up, man.
Hey, what's next for Parker? Do we even care, or
no? We don't care.
Just throwing it out there.
No, we don't care. We don't care.
Dillian White. Let him fight Dillian White.
Yeah.
Let him fight Dillian White. What are you guys nuts?
On the undercard of Povetkin AJ, Parker, Dillian White.
Man, let me tell you something. Hold on a second. I said this before the fight and I was talking about this with Bucho as well. There's a video over at BDA, our main channel, where we talked about this. Parker has never been an exciting fighter. Against the Cam, against Ruiz, against Hughie Fury, no matter what style you put him in against, he's gonna look bad. And you put him in there against Dillian White, or even Lucas Brown. I guarantee you put him in there against Lucas Brown, he's gonna look boring in there. Let me tell you something.
Do you want to put us to sleep for good?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't mention Lucas Brown ever again, man.
Oh, I mentioned him.
If it ain't magic, it ain't.
That's right. If it ain't magic, it ain't shit. That's my new tagline, man. You gotta bring magic to impress. Because look, listen, I'll be honest, man. We are all seasoned boxing fanatics here. We've been watching boxing for a long time. At this point, you gotta bring something to the table to impress us. We only have so much time in our lives, and if you come in here, you stink up the joint 2 times in a row, it's 3 strikes and you're out, man. I don't want to see your ass again. I know it sounds awful, but that's the way I'm gonna start seeing things now. I still give Joshua a bit of a pass for this one, but I don't think I can give him a pass for a second time, man. I don't think I can do that. Now,
I mean, Joshua looked pretty poor in his last fight as well, I will admit. I mean, it wasn't a clinch fest like tonight, but he hasn't looked great in his last few fights.
that's a good point. That's another good point right
He
there.
didn't look great against Klitschko. People call me a hater and shit, but he didn't look. No, look, he had him on the ropes and he couldn't touch him. He had to grab him and hit him behind the head, and the ref had to stop the fight. But it was bullshit. He couldn't touch him. Klitschko was on the ropes, slipping and sliding like Mayweather. I mean,
they were saying that at least on the list.
Like Klitschko in that instance. Like
That's a good
I was
point.
by far more impressed by what Klitschko was doing.
That's a good point. Like when Joshua stopped Klitschko, you look at the barrage of punches that actually stopped the fight. He didn't land one of those punches. Like one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
He would have
That's another
punched
fight.
himself out. He was gonna punch himself out.
Yeah, you might get it. He
Klitschko was gonna
doesn't.
recover.
And how many right hands did Anthony Joshua
Klitschko
land
left
today?
him off the hook, man.
Maybe
You think
so.
Klitschko let him off the hook?
But that's what happens with old fighters. They don't have it in them anymore.
Whoa.
That's people say he looked the best Klitschko ever. No, that was an old Klitschko with good technique.
Everybody's dropped off the call.
Yeah, who dropped off the call? We got...
Everybody has.
No, not everybody. Precise is still there. You're still there. I'm still here.
Oh yeah,
But
but like half of the panel was dropped.
Yeah, we didn't need them anyway. No, I'm kidding. They'll be back.
Did somebody nuke the East Coast?
Now they'll be back. Something must have happened with the connection. I don't know what, but look, listen, we're still here.
There you go, Michael's back anyway.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Michael's back. Michael, what the hell are you doing, man? Bucho too. Bucho's back.
I don't disconnect.
You got this.
Everybody connected except me, Precise, and BDA. Everybody
No,
else went off.
Corruption
Yeah,
is back.
alright.
Corruption is back. Now we just need reverse the matrix to come back, and we have the flock back again. Okay, listen.
What the hell happened there?
I don't know. You tell
I
me,
don't know,
man.
man.
Got knocked out like David Price, man.
You
Oh,
got
come on. Come on, man.
Did you see all that? Did you guys see all that blood coming out of his mouth?
Yeah. He got
I
level.
was like, I didn't.
I
didn't
feel
think
bad for the
Povetkin
guy,
had
man.
power.
I don't know why I feel bad for
Okay.
David Price.
That was sad.
We gotta give Povetkin his props, man. You gotta give that man his props. Look,
Do we really?
I know it's David Price and all that, but David Price was towering over him. He was much bigger, and he showed he had the power to knock him out, and he was trying. And the way Povetkin set him up, it's not like he just barged in and started throwing punches. He set his ass up, man. The way he was coming in, going low and high, high and low, left and right, like he would repeat a little pattern, and then he broke away from it and was able to land that left hook, I believe. And it was impressive. It was like kind of like Canelo versus Khan, except Khan didn't have the power to knock Canelo out.
Right,
Please, I put on Twitter after the fight that Price deserves a lot of respect for that performance because he was, you look at his career, he's not competed with anybody at world level. Povetkin was by far the best opponent he's ever faced, and he went in there and he showed that he can compete. I mean, obviously he got knocked out, it was a brutal knockout, but after
He
that,
came to win.
That's what I'm saying. Price, even in a loss, rejuvenated himself in a way. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Price. If Price continues fighting like that, I mean, obviously you don't want to see him getting knocked out. I've seen some people say, maybe he should retire and all that. But in my opinion, I wouldn't mind seeing Price fight again because his fight before this tonight, it was against a journeyman, and he looked shocking. Whereas tonight he turned up, he looked motivated, he looked confident, he went for it, and he went
He
out.
got knocked out again.
But he went out on his shield though. That's all. That's all people wanted to see.
Well, if you think, yeah. But I
Okay,
don't
let me
think
ask
he's
you
good
this.
for his fucking
I want to
brain,
mention this about Povetkin because when I used to go to BoxRec, I can't go to BoxRec anymore because they want you to log in. No way in hell am I logging in. I'm not going to give them my information. Second of all, when I had gone there before, it said that Povetkin was listed as 6'4". When I go to Wikipedia and in tonight's fight, they had him listed as 6'2". What's going on here?
He's 6'1".
That's what I wanted to ask. Am I having a Mandela effect moment, or has he always been?
David Price is what 6'10", something like that. So Price was like you said. Price was towering over him. I mean, correction's got to be at least 6'2", isn't he?
Povetkin looked like he was 5'4" today.
Yeah.
He looked like a midget, is what you're saying? I mean, not a midget.
And this is what people who talk about the PEDs, what they don't get about Povetkin. Like when he has a guy whose chin is right there on the level, he can really put power on his shots. But when he has guys towering over him and he has to jump into his punches, that robs him of a lot of power.
Right.
That's why he didn't knock out Vach.
I tell you the one thing Povetkin did today which was very clever. I think he, on one or two of the exchanges, he deliberately overloaded with the left hand to give Price the indication that he was going to fire the left hook. But he came back with that right hand looping over, which hit him on the chin. You see Price trying to shift his head from right to left, knowing that he fell for the trap of the left hand, but the right hand came over his left hand. It was He set him up beautifully with that right hand.
He thread the needle with that shit, man. That was impressive.
I felt
Clever as hell.
it was horrible seeing Price get. I mean, we've seen Price get knocked out before, but that was bad. That knockout tonight was bad. The way he was out.
Yeah.
I mean, when Povetkin landed the shot that put him over, he was out there. But that was just a brutal knockout.
Yeah, when a guy is laying around on the ring, like, I mean, we all want to see good knockouts, but when a guy stays there for a long time, then it gets to be a little worrisome. Don't forget to like it.
Blood come out of his mouth and all that as well. The blood come out of his mouth. It wasn't very nice.
Yeah, but hey, anyway, I mean, listen, if that's what happens, that's what we're here for, watching this type of shit. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe the stream and the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to BDA or Main Boxing Channel. Let me just read real quick a couple of things that people are saying here in the chat room. Matias Lee says, we give him props. Why? He's asking that about Povetkin. Fam Molly says, Povetkin is like 6'1". MNE 1986 says, it is the steroids. Michael Stock says 6'8" in regards to Price. Boxing Style says British measurements, LOL. Yeah, those British measurements, 15 pounds, 37 pebbles, and a couple of fish sticks. I mean, come on, why don't you get back to the old system that we're all using? I mean, the new one, and stop pussyfooting around. Bobby Shane says, I would pay millions to watch 80s Boxing Style back, head on boxing and no backups. So there you have it. People are thinking that we shouldn't be giving Povetkin too much credit for this. But hey, listen, he set it up the way he should have. David Price been knocked out a bunch of times. Povetkin went in there, took care of business, although he was caught himself before
Boxing
he got
Style
done.
says Gassiev might do better in heavyweight than Usyk.
No. Not a chance.
No.
Gassiev's smaller than Usyk. And his
Yeah.
style, and Usyk's style suits, heavyweight much better than Gassiev's. Because
Heavyweights are gonna punch through his guard.
like Gassiev, if his power is not there at heavyweight, he's got nothing to fall back on. Usyk's got a lot more to fall back on than Gassiev does.
He's too straight up and he blocks too many punches with his guard. These bigger guys are gonna be able to pierce that guard, man.
I don't want to see Gassiev, I don't want to see, if Usyk wins, I want to see him go to heavyweight. But if, Gassiev should stay at cruiserweight and then just reign there if he wins.
Yep.
How tall is Gassiev?
6'3".
Oh, it's the same as Usyk then.
Yeah, but it's different though.
But look, even being a journeyman possibly or gatekeeper at heavyweight, he's going to be making more money than cruiser, so he'll probably do that anyway.
Good point.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be a journeyman, but gatekeeper, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much money? I mean, how much money is it at cruiserweight after the tournament? Like, what do you do?
There's not much money in the cruiserweight division outside this tournament. That's why a lot of them went in for it. There's a lot of money in this tournament. I mean, the US
250, 300.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the US don't care about the cruiserweights. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
In terms of other than
you're getting paid in rubles and ducats.
It's one of the most exciting divisions in the sport right now. But only legit boxing fans care about that division.
Well, the LDBC is doing a full-on coverage of the World Boxing Super Series cruiserweight division. Have you noticed?
I don't even know who they are.
The LDBC, they're covering this shit like fucking 24/7, man. I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, you're being sarcastic? They're not. No?
Yeah, of course. They don't give it. They're not boxing fans. As long as once Ward left 175, they stopped fucking covering the fucking division.
Bro,
they don't give a shit, man.
I don't even know what the LDBC is, bro. So I have no idea what's going on.
Thank God. Don't look into it.
I don't follow this shit. I'm only on Twitter talking about boxing. YouTube's the hardest choice.
Oh, hey, I wanted to bring something up. I wish Stu were on here, but it is what it is.
I texted him. Yeah, I think he's with a girl, so he's kind of busy, I guess.
That's
he said down the last show, didn't he?
Yeah.
But check this out, guys.
Coke with a missus.
Sorry.
Now go on.
According to Price's trainer, David Price didn't do any drug testing leading up to this fight. And according to Gilberto Mendoza of the WBA and Povetkin and possibly UCAD, Povetkin did. So I just figured I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I saw your video.
And Yeah, and that little stumble where Povetkin stumbled into the ropes. Look, I know the rules. You could call that a knockdown, but it never happens. So, and I'm just saying that's another reason why I give Povetkin credit is because he wasn't just fighting David Price in that ring. He was fighting British corruption, and he came through, and I give him props.
Price can bang, as much stick as Price gets. Price whacks hard. Povetkin took that. Povetkin's got a good chin. I mean, Price hits harder than Joshua. I can tell you that.
Yeah, Price hits like Vlad hits. He's got that kind of power.
Yeah, one punch and he's putting you out.
Yeah, and another
Without
thing
the
about
coordination, though, huh?
Of course, it doesn't have the coordination, but about Klitschko, Vitaly was always an exciting fighter to me, but Vladimir not so much. However, when it came to Vladimir, he got the job done like 88% of the time when he was in his prime, ruling the roost with a knockout. However, whatever it was, he fought top level guys, a lot of undefeated guys, number one contenders, and he stopped them all in the end. So as far as there was only so much you could criticize his performances. He always got the job done in an impressive fashion toward the end of it. Except obviously Povetkin, that was a fucking disgrace. But he caught all the heat and then some for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a terrible fight. It really was.
Yeah. But what's up with that, man? Like UCAD not testing Price but testing Povetkin. What's up with that shit?
I didn't know about that. I mean, I heard that Povetkin didn't do any drug testing. That's what I heard.
No, that's not true. He did. According to an article written by... Huh?
Yeah, I believe that. I believe he did do testing. I don't see how, either of them didn't do drug testing. I mean, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But there's so much shit going around saying that they didn't do it, they didn't do it.
Povetkin was tested by Resada before he came over, and then in England by UCAD.
Oh, he was, yeah. Is that confirmed? Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is an article out there. A British writer did write an article entitled "The Truth About Drug Testing, Povetkin Price," something like that. You could read it, look it up, and from that article, if you just read it carefully, you'll see that it looks like Povetkin did do drug testing and Price not at all.
Are you saying there's some corruption or conspiracy in the UK?
Well, this happens everywhere. This happens everywhere. Like people say, "Oh, they spike you in Russia." Okay, I don't doubt that. You know what I mean? But the same type of shit happens in everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly. I like with your videos because what you point out is not like one country is corrupt and the other ones are not. It's like hypocrisy that exists, especially in the West, where like it's only in Eastern Europe and Russia and other countries like that's where the corruption lies. But that's not true. I mean, look at the UK, man. You're just presenting fucking important information here.
I mean, Butcho, like 2 years ago, I actually interviewed UCAD and the British Boxing Board of Control. I tried to find out about all of their compliance protocols and how they open their case studies. And I realized from that point how they had no transparency in their testing mechanisms. They didn't disseminate the information in accordance to their own standard operating protocols. So I realized that, that organization was just a farce, pretty much like any other drug testing organization.
They're all corrupt.
They've been complicit in so many British boxers who had failed drug tests. There was a middleweight like 6 years ago who had failed for. He basically had taken almost a cocktail of 6 or so substances, and they didn't intervene, and that they allowed the fight to continue. That one of the other fighters got injured, so there was a subsequent repercussions, and there was a lawsuit. So, they don't have any sort of accountability. They don't have any credibility. I think they're just a farce. No respect.
I just read an article about a UCAD employee trying to cover up positive drug tests for the UK Olympic team. This just came out like 2 days ago. But you're not going to hear anything about this. It's going to be hushed up.
Yeah, of course it will.
Yeah. And the whole Fury case, that's a farce too, man. Erkin Tepper And that other guy that knocked out Price, failing after the fight. Come on, give me a break, man. That's like get
Tony
out.
Thompson, that was funny. The Tony Thompson one, they found that out 2 years after he fought Royce.
Come on.
Is it possible to spike somebody's
Same with Fury,
blood test?
Yeah, they found that one out a year and a half after the Hammer fight. Yeah.
Is it possible? Is it possible to
They're
spike
using
somebody's
it
blood
as
test?
a weapon to control these people.
You think it's
to
possible to
fix
spike
fix
somebody's? You think it's possible to spike somebody's blood test?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now,
That's
if
what Lucas Brown did that, didn't he? He claimed that after the show I gave that he was spiked in Russia, didn't they? That's what he said about that.
Well, listen, I'll put it this way. I remember Antonio Tarver, after he got outboxed by Hopkins, he said afterwards, "Oh, I think I was drugged because I felt lethargic." Now, when that happened, I thought, this guy's making excuses because he didn't expect to lose to a 42-year-old guy or 41. Now I'm thinking, I mean, really, why not? There's all these type of tricks out there that somebody could pull off, or you could hire somebody that knows how to do this. Why not?
Klitschko was poisoned.
That's what he says, but I mean, do we have any proof? Or I mean, again, who do we trust?
Bird said he was fucking. Well, who was Vladimir had something in his gloves, like some sort of liquid or something that was blinding him or something. Remember?
You remember Ishmael Barroso said the same thing when he fought Anthony Crolla for the title over here as well. There was so many. There was a lot of talks about how. Hotel cancellations, his luggage going missing. He was sick in his hotel before the fight. There was a sequence of events suggests that they definitely tried to fuck him up for that fight. And he looked like dog shit in the fight. He just went down, had no energy after 4 rounds. He gave a much better fighter in Kevin Mitchell a lot more heat. He would have just knocked Anthony Crolla out. So I certainly think there was foul play involved in that one.
What do you think happened to Max Schmeling in the second Joe Louis fight? Max Schmeling. What do you think happened to him? Same shit.
Okay, but wait, hold on. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves here. When just to clarify, when Vladimir Klitschko said he was poisoned, I think we're talking about the Lemon Brewster fight, right?
I think so.
Okay, when he said I thought his excuse also had been that somebody had put Vaseline all over his body and therefore his pores couldn't breathe, and that's why he gasped. Which just to me sounds like, I mean, how does he prove that? How does anybody prove that? It sounds like an excuse to me. Same as with Tarver saying that a CIA assassin put something in his food, and that's why he couldn't perform against Hopkins. I mean,
same with Ali, right?
Well, listen, I mean, okay, but what's the proof for Klitschko?
That was a joke, man. I'll say that.
It happens. What we could get from this that it does happen. When exactly, with whom, who knows? We just know it's part of the sport.
Now, how do you think they work that out? Do you think the promoter hires somebody to do this, or because I'm genuinely curious about how somebody would be able to pull this off?
Spike you?
Yeah.
The opponent's team can pay the bartender at the hotel when they sell you bottled water or something to put a little bit of sleeping pill in there or whatever, or clenbuterol or whatever.
Remember when Fury after the Klitschko fight, there's a video out there when they were trying to give him bottles of water, and Fury was like, "Don't give me any water that wasn't brought over by us." You know what I mean? He knew the tricks of it over there.
Yeah.
All right, corruption. Let me ask you this, because we're talking about the corruption of boxing and the things that go on behind the curtains that we don't always see. What do you think? Do you think this is something that happens on the regular, or that has happened more often than we think? Fighters being spiked with something to hurt their performance. Corruption.
It is a technique that promoters have. Yeah, it's a technique that promoters have used for the last 100 years. There was even talk about in the 1930s and 1940s about food contamination. I remember who was it? Name of the fighter just eludes me. That he had food poisoning just before the fight, and he was evident that his food was definitely contaminated. So it is a common tactic that I think promoters, managers, even television networks, that if you think about it now, BDA, like a lot of the promoters are obviously inviting fighters over. They're paying them up. They're putting them at their own hotels.
Right.
Frank Warren has always said in the past that he's tried to use destabilizing tactics against opposing fighters. He would try and alter flights. He would try and put them in hotels that they certainly didn't request. He would just put them in emergency hotels. He would try and destabilize their transportation. I'm sure even the catering services. So it's still going on.
All right. Well, there you have it. There you have it, guys. There's certainly shenanigans that can go on. And I mean, anyway, I mean, it raises the question of who would be responsible to overseeing this, because how far does the corruption go? And now, Precise said you could get a bartender or somebody in room service to poison the food. Maybe somebody in the Nevada State Athletic Commission, for example, could look the other way or actually even do it themselves. I mean, the rabbit hole can go quite deep when we're talking about this. But again, we don't have enough solid proof to be able to determine anything here. So, Bucho, what do you think? I mean, is there something you want to say about the Joshua fight or anything else?
Joshua is a piece of shit.
Joshua is a piece of shit, he said. Well, there you go. Let's see what people are saying in the chat then. Russian Colluder says, Precise, the Klitschko Lehman Brewster story is legit. Ask Anthony. Who's Anthony?
Thunderdome.
Ah, Thunderdome, okay. Okay,
Shout out to Max.
I'm very interested in hearing more about that. Like if there's any articles or anything out there that provide some evidence, because I'm interested in how these things go down, in the big leagues of boxing. Boxing Style says Tyson's Waters was laced. Gangstas 003, shout out to Gangstas, says Povetkin versus AJ would be a good fight in Russia. Even playing field, it goes the distance though. Mateus Lisi says, what about Marcus drinking his own piss? Yeah, that wasn't performance enhancing. That was just, I don't know, maybe a placebo effect. I don't know. Boxing, that was disgusting, that's for sure. Boxing Style says Ali versus Foreman. Foreman said his water was like, yeah, Foreman came up with excuses. I think about 3 or 4 excuses throughout the years. One was that the ropes were too loose. Another one was he was poisoned, and I forget what the other 2 were, or maybe another one. I don't know. Famoli says Super Marcus was a hell of a fighter. Greg PG Machuk says, what's the verdict, chaps? I just tuned in. I had Parker up 2 rounds. Whoa, he had Parker up. Okay, if somebody says that they had Parker winning, would you guys think he was crazy, or would you can see that?
No. 7-5 either way for me.
Really?
I gotta watch the fight again, obviously, but I was paying attention.
Okay, yeah. So, do us a favor, man. Watch the fight again and make a video about it, because I really want to, like, if you could, but hold on, you can't include clips, right away? Otherwise you get taken down.
Yeah, probably.
Fuck. Well, anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm eager to watch the fight again, because when I was watching it, no, but you know what I mean. I'm eager to watch it because I want to get this straight. Because when I was watching it, I had to do other things at the same time. I wasn't paying full on 100% attention. How about you, Cameron? Would you be surprised? Are you surprised when somebody says they had Parker winning by 2 rounds? Cameron? I think he's taking a... Well, I don't want to say it, so...
X had it 10 rounds to 2 for Parker.
Who had it that way?
X.
Oh, X. Yeah, I'm curious to get X's take on all of this, and whether Wilder... In what round Wilder decimates Joshua? You think you could ask him?
He says 5 rounds. 5 rounds tops.
5 rounds tops. There you go.
Yeah,
X.
He's texting me. He's listening to you, and he's texting me at the same time.
Oh well, tell him we don't. Tell him we wish him the best. We don't want him as our enemy. You go ahead and tell him
he
then.
Appreciates that. He likes that.
There you go. See, Bucho, that's the way you do it, man. You wanna placate people, you know. And by the way, Cameron just left me a message on Google Hangouts. This is what he said. That's why he can't be here right now.
I gotta take a wicked shit.
So that's why he's not here right now. All right, listen.
What I actually went for was to get a drink.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, is that what they call it in England? Taking a shit, taking a drink, same fucking shit. Listen, with the breakfast you people eat over there, I gotta tell you, I'm about ready to try that what was it? The fry-in or fry-up? Fry-up. Yes, I'm very eager to try that. Again, for people that don't know what we're talking about, let me put a picture of that again. The fry-up breakfast. It's delicious. It's got everything the body needs. Couple of vegetables, couple, meat, protein.
Getting up in the morning and having one of them is real shit.
Yeah, you think so? There you go. So just to recapitulate what we got here, we got an egg. I think these are hash browns. Got some mushrooms in there. A fried tomato, sausages. What is this, by the way, next to the sausage?
I can't see the actual picture, but
I'm
not on the actual YouTube stream right now.
Oh, okay. Well, you got bread. You got this black thing, which I thought was a cookie, but which is actually some sort of meat out of a sauce. It's like a sausage.
Black pudding.
Black pudding. There you go. And apparently, from what I hear, it is disgusting. And then you have beans. So imagine eating all of this, and then you're in the elevator with somebody.
Let me have a look and see if it's on the screen. That next to the sausage.
Yeah.
That's like bacon.
That doesn't look like bacon. I don't know what you're doing over there in England, man, but it's all fucked up. I'll just put it that way. John Gonzalez says it looks like a puke platter. Boxing Style says fried balls. Fam Ollie says BDA, that's like the 5th time you Google it, because I'm obsessed with it. I want to try black pudding. I want to see what it tastes like. Apology Man says it's bacon, fool. Well, I didn't know. It looked weird. Pop Tart Gun says it looks delicious. Boxing Style says I only eat Mexican meat. I had to leave the Mexican meat a long time ago, but let me tell you something. When I was eating Mexican meat, close to 200 pounds shredded.
Yeah,
shredded.
Well, there's definitely some clenbuterol in there, nandrolone in that fry-up. Guarantee that. Come over here and get some of that.
Well, that's the thing, man. Speaking of clenbuterol, okay, so it seems now that Bob Bennett is indeed saying that he's going to suspend Canelo, and they're talking about a 2-year suspension. Guys, are they just rolling around with the circus to try to make us really believe that there's justice in Las Vegas, or is this something that they're actually going to try to pull off?
If they pull it, Bob Bennett's a clown. If they pull this off, I'll be shocked. Come on, man. I mean, you really think the Nevada State Athletic Commissioner are going to ban Canelo for 2 years? Fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. I mean, even Steve Kim was surprised in one of his latest columns that he said he was surprised that this was going to happen because he thought that they were just going to let him off the hook after the trial. But now they're talking about suspensions and 2 years and canceling the fight, not postponing it, canceling it. I'll tell you something. I always used to think the same thing. They'll reprimand Canelo when hell freezes over. Well, let me tell you something. I'm looking downstairs. It's looking pretty cold down there. Let's just put it that way. Any of you surprised if they do it? I mean, Cameron, I know that you would be surprised.
I'm a little surprised.
All right, but
either he's not Mayweather like he thought he was, because Mayweather got off with the same shit, or he didn't want to fight Triple G in May.
Yeah. Yep. That's a. I thought of that. I thought that maybe this is a way of like. I don't know. I mean, would he damage his reputation just not to fight Triple G?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So. No.
I don't think he would. I don't think it would go that far. I just say, you know what? I'm kind of surprised. I'll be surprised if they cancel.
I mean, what
There's a lot of money to be made.
Exactly. I mean, what type of fighter would put themselves under the name of a drug thief just to get out of a fight? I mean, really? I don't see that.
Yeah, that's a little far-fetched. Like, I agree with reverse. I mean, with
I didn't say
recognize
that. No. I didn't say that. I see how you would get that impression, but I think he got caught. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. But he took the opportunity to back out of the fight, maybe because look, he would have had this whole case all on his mind in training camp, in the fight. He would have all these people against him now, and he couldn't beat Triple G with clenbuterol. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to be able to beat him without clenbuterol and having his blood drawn. like crazy before the fight. Like he couldn't beat Triple G basically. So psychologically and physically, he wasn't going to be the same, and he wasn't able to beat him on Clenbuterol. So without it, forget about it.
I think it's a bad idea for him to go like with everything that's on him to go take this fight now. He probably loses worse this time around. You know, I thought he lost the fight.
It's like Margarito getting caught with the hand wraps. He looked like shit against him because his head wasn't in it.
Yeah, he got destroyed. Right after, I guess they caught him with the gloves or whatever the case was, and he got into that fight. His mind wasn't in it. You could see it. You could see the in his performance. He was just sitting there, just coming forward, getting tagged up until he got knocked out.
Now let me ask you this: if they're drawing blood from him on the regular, wouldn't that help him make weight? You know, draining blood. You know, taking a little weight off.
Yeah, no problem making one. But that's no problem making 160, is he?
In the worst way.
No.
No, or
no,
maybe
because he uses Clenbuterol.
That's true, yeah. Or maybe he could eat some of that British breakfast and take a wicked shit, and that makes him lose a whole bunch of pounds, man. You never know. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm not saying they're good ideas. I'm just saying they're ideas. But yeah, man. I mean, it would seem pretty bizarre for Canelo to pull out of this fight. But then again, maybe, like Precise said, with all that shit in his head about people calling him a cheater and all that, maybe that's one of the reasons why this fight isn't happening. Do you think the fight gets postponed, or we're never gonna see a rematch again?
But what's the deal?
It's not gonna happen in May. It's not gonna happen in May. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
If the fight doesn't happen in May, I guess with Canelo being suspended, or he just so who does Triple G fight? I mean, are they working on that, or is just like the whole event's going to get postponed?
Derevianchenko and Andrade said they want the fight. Both of them have been vocal on social media.
That'll be
but then there's reports coming out that Golovkin's not looking at either of them, and they're looking at that South African guy and Spike O'Sullivan as replacements.
Spike O'Sullivan and that South African guy. Well,
that's what the reports are anyway.
Yeah, they say that's true. They say they have somebody in reserve in case the fight falls off. I'm thinking about Castillo versus Corrales 3. Again, the first fight was such a sensational fight. The second one, again, Castillo had his weight issues, and then they were gonna do a third one, and again, Castillo botched it by coming in overweight, and that we never got to see a third fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if we never get to see a rematch, no matter how much money there is. I mean, listen, remember, De La Hoya never fought Trinidad again, even though that was one of the highest grossing fights at the time. He never fought Mayweather a second time. Again, that was. I'm not saying it was De La Hoya's fault, but I'm just saying sometimes big rematches, no matter how big the fight, sometimes they don't happen just because there's that much money involved. There's bigger things outside of boxing and circumstances. So if this fight doesn't happen in May or this year, I'm not sure we ever get to see Golovkin and Canelo in the ring again.
That's true.
But
look, Pacquiao Mayweather. They never fought again.
That's another example. Yes, that's true. That's true.
They'll ever fight again.
Do you guys care, or you don't care if this fight happens, the rematch?
I don't care.
I don't really care, to be honest.
Give me Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah,
Give me
I thought Golovkin won the first one. Like, I thought Golovkin won the first one, so just fight Saunders.
Yeah, I think in the fans' minds, everybody thinks and everybody knows Golovkin really won that fight. So a rematch, let's say he fights Canelo again and he gets robbed. I mean, what does that really prove when people know what they're watching, as opposed to a couple of judges who either don't know what they're watching or they're corrupt? So let's leave that. I think as much as this fight is a big fight, as big as it is, with everything that's been going on, and even the Las Vegas, the Athletic Commission, the Nevada State Athletic Commission saying, hey, listen, even this is too much, it just throws a wrench into the whole thing. All right, so I'm starting to dial back a little bit of the expectation for this fight and saying, you know what, if it doesn't happen, I don't care. We still have Linares versus Lomachenko. We got Adonis Stevenson versus. No. Yeah, you people thought I was really talking about what's his name? About Rigon, no.
I think your brain is going soft.
No, I didn't mean Rigon. I meant Lomachenko and Linares. We got Gassiev versus Usyk. We have Stevenson versus Badu Jack. And let me tell you something.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking now, which is, we already talked about this before, but with Gassiev Usyk, is there a chance the fight sucks? Because I know Precise says that Usyk is gonna school Gassiev. What do the rest of you guys think? Do you think it's a good fight, or you think it ends up being a letdown?
Yeah, I think it's made to be a really good fight. I don't think Usyk's going to school him. If he schools him, I'll be surprised personally. I feel like Gassiev is good enough not to get schooled. But I do think it's made to be a really good fight. I think, you've got two undefeated guys in their prime, all 4 titles on the line, with the Ring Magazine title on the line, and they've already proven to be the best 2 in the division. I mean, it's that sort of situation. You're not going to get that sort of situation often, and I think this is made to be a memorable fight. I mean, that's what I'm expecting anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Usyk in a boring fight, and since I've been following Gassiev, the same thing. So I expect it to be a good fight. Could it be tactical in the beginning, a little hesitant? I can see that, but I think it's the best fight so far, in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Unless something else gets signed up. I think that's the best fight.
Well, there you go.
Stylistically, it has everything to make it a great fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, really, the Gassiev Usyk fight, I could see Usyk maybe getting on his bike a tiny little bit, kind of like Lebdev. Lebdev with his movement, he was able to frustrate Gassiev a little bit. But I expect Usyk, even if he moves a lot, I still expect him to let his hands go a lot, and probably even try. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say maybe it was the perfect opponent, but Gassiev showed me a lot in that Dortmund fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could fight off the back foot. I mean, this was a guy that usually is always coming forward, so you never really saw that. At least me, I never saw that part of his game, and he showed me a lot in that Dortmund fight. So, I still favor Usyk to win this fight. But I wouldn't be shocked if Gassiev pulls it off.
Doikos is legit. I thought that was a good performance from Gassiev. Doikos is legit.
Yeah, no, Dorticos, he had the right game plan in the beginning, but I think that Gassiev just showed he has a couple of other tricks up his sleeves and wore him out, stopped him in the last round.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. What's his name? Dorticos was a guy he's a little bit like Francis Barthélemy. Long, tall Cuban that actually likes to stay in front of you and bang it out. I don't think Usyk is gonna stand right in front of him, but I also don't think he's gonna be moving as much as some people would expect him to, because I think Usyk is that confident in his abilities that he might actually try to go after Gassiev a little bit. Try to put him on the back foot a bit and get him out of his element.
Yeah. I always said this, that I think that if Usyk has underrated power. A lot of people see him just, he's a very active fighter, so there's a lot of times he's throwing punches where he's not putting really anything on it. But when he does sit on his punches, I just see the fighters that he's had in front of him, they react different.
Mm-hmm. Exactly,
I'm not
man.
saying he has the greatest punching power, but his punching power is a little underrated.
I think so too, man. What do you guys think? Do you think Usyk's power is underrated a little bit here?
The thing is, in the cruiserweight division, it's just full of one-dimensional brawlers who just who have devastating power. Whereas Usyk, he's technically and overall he's a better fighter, so power is not his sort of his only weapon. Usyk's got power, no doubt about it. It's power to get you to get your attention. But it's not concussive power, but it's enough to get your attention. It's enough to get any fighter out there. It's just not the same sort of power like most of the other cruiserweights out there, because he's got more weapons. He can rely on that.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's
hits significantly harder with a single shot.
Gassiev,
Yep.
yeah, definitely.
I agree.
That's what I was gonna say, because even a guy like Beterbiev, he can still drop guys like the way he dropped Durudola. That was a precision shot. And let's not forget, these guys are 200 pounds. They're probably weighing in more when they step into the ring. So again, they're heavyweights. Any one punch can knock you out.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
You look at. Do you mean Kudryashov, not Beterbiev?
I mean, yeah, no, not Beterbiev. What's his name? Brady's, I should say.
Oh, Brady's, yeah, Brady's,
Yeah.
yeah. Brady's. I mean, Brady's just knocked out. He knocked out. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say Charles a world beater, but you know, Brady's went up to heavyweight and sparked him out cold.
Right.
You know, Brady's has got power. Yeah, Brady's has got power. A lot of these cruiserweights have got power. You know,
Yeah, that
quite
was
a few
an
of them.
amazing knockout. What Bradis did to.
Yeah, it was a brutal knockout. Brutal knockout.
Yeah.
I mean, Murat Gassiev's left hand to the body is one of the best punches in boxing. It's quick. It's not even telegraphed, and it's ferocious power.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. Definitely the type of scary power that even if you block his shots, I'm pretty sure you're still gonna feel them the next day, or even in the fight. People, sometimes the reactions that some of these guys get when they get hit by Gassiev, whether it's on the gloves or the elbows, whatever, it's like they go like, "God damn, this is what I'm gonna have to deal with for 12 rounds." If I go 12 rounds, I mean, it's really an impressive weapon to have.
I can't remember who he fought, but he fought on a PBC card before he became a world champion, and he lit this guy up. I mean, like proper sparked him out. It was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can't remember
that.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name was, but Gassiev has got serious power.
It was after Lebedev. I think it was just before the Vladarchik. I remember the guy. It was a brutal knockout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's a question. I don't really like to talk too much about pound for pound and all that. I mean, it's all subjective. You can have whoever you want in your list as far as I'm concerned. That being said, if Usyk ends up beating everybody and even if he wins by decision, close decision, whatever, the fact that he wins this tournament, a little bit like Andrew Ward, was pumped up to the high rankings of the pound for pound division. I mean, the rankings after he won the Super 6. Does Gassiev deserve the #1 spot?
What, no, pound for pound?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yep.
Undoubtedly.
Well, the winner of this would have unified the division and proved themselves to be a clear #1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they beat. You know what I mean? So, who else in sport has done in the sport has done that?
You can't even
Right now.
compare the caliber of this tournament and the fighters and the timetable in which they have fought to what Terence Crawford did. A comparison is just incoherent.
Right. Exactly. It's a pretty
Not
big...
even close.
I mean, you had the top 8. You know, I mean, you certainly had the top 4 cruiserweights in the semi-finals, but you had arguably the top 8 best cruiserweights. So, I mean, Mike Perez, you know, he wasn't proven, but you know, it's the best fighters in the division, and you know, you've got the 2 top guys now, you know, proven to be the top 2, and you know, I feel like it's hard not to put him in the conversation anyway.
Now, with that being said, does the winner of the Smith-Groves fight become the #2 guy?
No.
Yeah, I was just kidding right there, man. Listen, I'm no, obviously not, man. Come on. Here's the thing.
See, Mr. BDA, there's an argument here because look, every one of the incumbent champions was invited to participate in this tournament. David Benavides got an invitation. Callum Smith, the Durrell brothers, all of them. Now, if they voluntarily if they declined, that you shouldn't be penalising people like George Groves because they've basically chickened out of participating in the tournament. So, whoever has fought in the tournament, they certainly warrant whatever vow and win the tournament. You know, they shouldn't be looked down upon as it was a watered down tournament. It's only because the other fighters, you know, chose not to participate. So you can't blame Groves or Callum or whoever fought in the tournament.
That's a good point.
Gilberto Ramirez blatantly ducked participating in this tournament. He was talking about how he might, but yeah.
That's a good point. I was actually going to say Gilberto Ramirez. I mean, Bob Arum. Bob Arum makes me laugh, right? He didn't put Ramirez in that tournament because, you know, he had a different path for him. The amount of money that's in that tournament, I mean, you have to be an idiot not to put your fighter in. If you think your fighter is the best in the division, and all that money's there, what are you doing? Where is the logic behind that?
Wasn't it like whoever wins, it's like 25 million, right? Is it? Am I saying that right?
Whoa, what?
I mean, there was 15 million in the pot for the whole tournament between the fighters. But the winner gets it. Yeah, I mean, every fighter in that tournament made 7 figures every fight. So why aren't you putting your fighter in that? Especially if you think he's the best in the division. I mean, Bob Arum's out here saying, Gabriel Ramirez should fight the winner because he's the best in the division. Put him in a fucking tournament then.
That's what I'm wondering.
That's what made the cruiserweight division, to me, the best division. Is that you had all title holders, right?
Mm-hmm.
All involved in this tournament. I would have liked to see Lebyadev. Yeah, maybe he's a little too old. But Glowatsky, I would have liked to see him in that tournament as well.
Yeah,
that's
just
the only thing that was
missing
to me. But everything else about the cruiserweight tournament was like, to me, it makes it the best tournament that I've ever seen. I mean, there hasn't been many, but
they should have put Glowacki in. If you put Glowacki in instead of Mike Perez, it would have been a perfect.
Glowacki said that he wanted to participate, but they put him on the second standby.
He fought in the undercard, didn't he, of one of the actual events as a reserve for if somebody pulled out.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean,
he's a good fighter as well, Glowacki.
What did he say?
I think Glowacki's a good fighter as well. There's no shame in losing to Usyk.
No.
Glowacki's legit.
Exactly. He's a pretty tough guy. I wonder why they chose Perez over Glowacki. Maybe because he was coming down from heavyweight. Money. Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Hearn was backing him for that.
Yeah.
I don't think I like your tone, Captain.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you something. This money thing. It's always money. But going back to what Corruption said about the super middleweight tournament. Because like Recognize the Matrix said, everything that was supposed to go well with the cruiserweight tournament, it went down smooth. Usually you see a guy gets injured, this guy gets injured, or this guy wants more money, and the whole thing falls apart. With the cruiserweight division, it was like a knife going through butter, real smooth. With the super middleweight division, however, like Corruption said, a lot of guys didn't want to participate. Now, Corruption, I want to ask you this. Is it the fighters that declined most of the time, or is it most of the time the promoters that they just don't want to become involved in a venture of this kind?
No, I think we've got to put a demarcation in about this whole thing about fighters and promoters. Promoters work for the fighters. Fighters don't work for the promoters. So, if a fighter indicates that he wants to do something or he wants to participate, the promoter will more or less comply with his demands. I think there's only very rare exceptions, and you cannot make the excuse that the stumbling blocks is television. I don't believe that television networks. It's just one of those plausible deniability excuses.
Mm-hmm.
So BDA, there's no tolerance for me on that one. If they pussied out, fuck the lot of them.
Well, when you look at Bob Arum. When you look at Bob Arum's history, when like the super bantamweight tournament was going on with Beco Mares, Darchinyan, Yoni Perez, Bob Arum, even though Nonito Donaire would have been a favorite over all of those guys, Bob Arum didn't want to put him in there because he couldn't get a big enough cut of the pie. And yeah, the fighter can go against Bob Arum, but if you try to do that, he freezes you out and you're fucked over. Bob Arum is, it's true what you say, the promoter works for you, but he could also fuck you over by not giving you fights. And Bob Arum has done that in the past. Like when Nonito tried to leave him for Golden Boy, he just served him up to Rigondeaux and set him up to lose that fight.
And then he threw Rigondeaux onto the bus after that.
Well, it's because HBO didn't want to pay for his fights and he couldn't sell them. So he didn't throw him under the bus. It was Rigondeaux's fault. Bob actually he fought for Rigondeaux. He went to HBO and he argued for him, but they didn't want to buy it. And he's the seller. They don't want to buy. You can't make them do it, So he caught too much flack for Rigondeaux. He invested a lot of money in that man. And if you actually look at Rigondeaux's career and all the success that he had, it's actually when he was co-promoted by Bob Arum that were the best days of his career. And once he left Bob Arum, he got fucked.
Yeah. His most exciting fights were then. Fucking Tion Kennedy was a good fight. I think it was Kennedy.
Yeah, I think it was Tion Kennedy.
He's starting to drop Rigondeaux. I mean, why even talk about Rigondeaux? Fuck him.
He had the good matchmakers, and you put him in there with guys he looked impressive against. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then he got that big fight with Donaire, and he pulled through, and that was what got him on the pound for pound list. And after that, he left Bob Arum, and that was all she wrote.
But it is an interesting question that corruption and Precise are raising in terms of promoters. Like, it's easy for us to say, hey man, if you're a fighter, tell the promoter go fuck himself. But most of these fighters are in their 20s. They're not business savvy. Then you have a promoter who's 80 years old and who's been promoting way before these people were even born. He knows how to play these mind games and, use this promoter speak and use, be a smooth talker to, or even threaten these guys to say, hey, listen, you do what I say, or I'm blacklisting you. So sometimes the fight. Okay, for example, with Gilberto Ramirez, what's the end game for him? What? I think that's Precise. What's the end game?
Precise is opening up a bag of poker sign.
Was that?
Precise was opening up a bag of poker sign.
No, it's Cameron.
Yeah, actually, it's not Precise. It's Cameron. It is you, Cameron. It sounds like you're.
It's both.
Sounds like
I'm sat here, not touching a thing, man.
I heard something,
Cameron.
I heard something coming from Cameron's side. It sounded like you had a box. It sounded like you had a bunch of tampons inside a plastic box, and you were jingling it around. I don't know why you would have a box full of tampons, but.
Bro, it's Precise. Trust me, it's Precise.
No, it's not Precise. His mic is off, right? No, actually, is it on now, or he turned it off and we still heard it?
It was me. It was just me playing around with my Rizzlers.
What the hell's a Rizzler?
Well. I don't know.
Is that some sort of like a sex?
You got all these fucking people on this panel blaming me, and it was all along. It was fucking corruption with Rizzlers.
Listen, the only reason I said that is because I saw. The only reason I say that is because I saw the hangout thing. Your icon was moving when I heard the sound, so that's why I assumed it was you. And if it wasn't you, I beg your pardon. I apologize. But now here's the thing. Here's what I want to say, or ask rather. What's the end game with a guy like Gilberto Ramirez? Because you look at the super middleweight division. Gilberto Ramirez is with Top Rank. Everybody else is either with the PBC or some sort of other promotion. Is he going to get a big fight? Is he looking to fight Golovkin, as he's often said? I mean, what's the end game for him here? I'm going to put the rankings up so you can see what I'm talking about, because you have Brammer, right? You have Chris Eubank Jr., he has to rebuild. Anthony Durrell, James DeGale, who's going to be fighting Truex again. Uzcategui, who's with the PBC, I believe, or he's fighting for them for the moment, I don't know. Benavides, who's with the PBC as well. Caleb Truex, I don't know if he's a free agent or not. Callum Smith, Cameron, who's Callum Smith with? Is he with Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn or?
No, he's with Eddie Hearn.
Eddie Hearn, all right, thanks. Then the aforementioned Ramirez, and now you have George Groves, who's a number one, but he's got business to take care of with that super middleweight tournament. So again, I ask, why didn't they involve Ramirez in the 160?
Is he overrated? Did you guys talk about that?
No, we haven't talked
Arum,
about it.
man. Bob Arum chose to not put him in it.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the end? Is it like Precise said, that he just doesn't want to give away? He wants the larger piece of the pie, and nobody wants to play with him, or?
Milk the cow, man. But he's milking the
his hands. I mean, he can.
He's gonna put him in there with Julio Cesar Chavez and turn him into a superstar.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
gracious.
I mean, it's a Mexican guy. Come on, man. He can make money with him.
I think he's still young and kind of being developed a little bit.
Yeah, because he struggled a little bit when he steps up. So we'll see what happens. But to Bucho's point, Bucho brought up a good point. Is Gilberto Ramirez overrated?
No one ever talks about him, so it's hard to say he's even rated.
Yeah.
Well, the way he's spoken about in the media, I mean, not the way, but in terms of the what's the word? The rate at which he's spoken about. You see a lot of articles about him. He's got a lot of upside, is what you always hear in the articles or in the news. But in terms of boxing ability, like I said, every time he steps up, he struggles.
By the way, I heard that Ramirez is. I was watching ESPN Spanish, that show with Chavez there and Faitelson. What's it called? A los golpes.
A los golpes, yes.
Anyways, he's like he was saying that he can't make the weight, man. He's struggling to make 168. He's like, I'm gonna move up to 170. Well, what the fuck is he gonna do there? He's gonna get killed, man.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm like, this guy's fucking done for, man.
No, he got to move up to 170, 171.
Yeah.
He can make some kind of catch weight thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Man, that's what I'm saying. What can you do with a guy like that? I know Bob Arum. I understand he wants to milk the guy because he's Mexican. He has the Mexican fan base, but I don't know where he can go with a guy, especially when he can't even make 168. Because he's
Feed
also
him to
175.
Gvozdyk. He's gonna feed him to Gvozdyk. Watch.
That's actually that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Gvozdyk is promoted by Bob Arum. That's right.
Might be a good fight.
Might be, but like Bucho said, Gilberto Ramirez is between a rock and a hard place because at 168 he's killing himself to make the weight, and then if he goes to 175, which might just be one of the most loaded, if not the most loaded division in boxing, there's some straight up guys that would murder him there in terms not only stylistically but technically, and this is a guy who struggled against Jesse Hart. So
They'll murder him. Yeah.
They would murder him. I mean, come on, Bivol would make him look like an amateur. I'm sorry. I know I've criticized. I wasn't sold on Bivol prior to the Barrera fight, but after the Barrera fight, come on, you struggle against Jesse
Bivol
Hart.
like a natural super middleweight.
You mean in terms of speed or in terms of body build?
His body build looks like a natural super. Like he could make super middleweight. Is what I want to say. He looks like a small compared to the light heavyweights that are there now. He looks pretty small.
Barrera's a cruiserweight essentially. He's a small cruiserweight.
Really?
He fought at 190 something one time. 180. He fought a cruiserweight for a while.
Wow, that's pretty.
He came down in weight.
Okay, I gotta ask a question here. Since Ramirez struggled so much against Jesse, well, not so much, but I mean, he was having some trouble in there after he dropped him. Do you guys think somebody like Marcus Brown beats Gilberto Ramirez? Let me put up.
Brown would smoke him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give. I would probably say Brown beats him, but I'll give Ramirez a good shot against Brown.
Let's see it. Only way to know.
Yeah.
Who's
Brown lost to that guy.
When he was
What was that
smoking
guy's name?
Well, hold on, one at a time. Recognize, what did you say?
He's from Bosnia or
Kalaji.
that dude. Yeah, that dude's cool. I thought he beat Brown.
Easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yes. I remember we talked about that in a one of the previous episodes, and I haven't seen the fight yet. I'll tell you what though, aren't they saying that Brown is gonna take on Kovalev?
Oh, I think Kovalev's gonna spark him. I don't know why. Just don't give him a chance.
Because it seems to.
Could be wrong.
Well, no.
But I just.
You might be right.
You see he's a southpaw, right? You see, he just does everything wrong as a southpaw, in my opinion.
Yeah, one of Kovalev's biggest strengths is actually his precision and his power. That's why, I mean, it's bad enough when you fight somebody that punches hard. Now you're fighting somebody that punches hard and who gets those shots with very, very accurately. I mean, and if you're one of those guys that fights with his hands down and you think you're faster than everybody and you can get away with it, Kovalev is going to be the one to expose you. And at this point, I don't know. But then again,
he dips low.
Yeah, that's if he dips
low on top of that with his hands all the way down. Dips low as a southpaw. I don't know who the hell. He's from Staten Island, that kid. I don't know who trains him, or who's teaching him that, or he's just doing that on his own. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, man. Especially
Sergey doesn't look comfortable against southpaws either, so he may have issues.
So you think he struggles against Marcus Brown based on the southpaw issue, or also because Brown is younger and Kovalev is getting there a little bit with age?
Kovalev's foot positioning against southpaws, I think he has. I don't think he's fought many southpaws, amateur or professional. I've been trying to go back and actually have a look as to how many he has fought, but he definitely has issues.
Well, he's
Brown
lost.
just doesn't fight like the conventional southpaw though. Just not even close to it.
Well, it's interesting, man. Stylist. Well, what do you mean by he doesn't fight in the conventional way?
Okay, well, first of all, he dips. Some fights that I've seen, he first of all he keeps his hands down, right? Now picture a righty. You want to obviously you want to take away his right.
Right.
Well, when he dips low with his hands down, he's dipping in position to get hit with the right. If Kovalev, and I still believe that he's fast enough, just fast enough to get there first, he'll hit him, and I think he'll knock him out. He's not going to be. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about the guy, but everything he does as a southpaw, he does it wrong. He doesn't. He doesn't stand in that dominant position. Who's the guy that always says that the fight scout doesn't like with his lead foot, on the side of the orthodox lead foot, right? It's what you want to do. You want to line up your left so you can hit him. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do any of that in the fights that I've seen.
Now, you mentioned the dipping. Do you think, because Kovalev is the type of guy that he can hit you with a shot on the forehead or on the temple and takes you out, do you think that's what would happen here between Brown and Kovalev? It's like one of those punches that's not on the chin, but that nevertheless ends the night?
Could be. I mean, the one thing I say that Marcus Brown has on his side, he's strong. He looks like a big, strong guy. But a little off balance, right? Gets caught with one of those shots on top of the forehead. It could be, it could at least knock him down, fuck with his head. He's never been in that position before. And, Kovalev just takes over from there, knocks him out, maybe stops him or just keeps him hurt throughout the whole fight. Win an easy decision.
Well, that's the thing, man, because I'm a little conflicted here. So I'll ask for your opinions. Is Kovalev significantly slowing down at this point, or is it because he's been fighting for so long and fighting so many different styles that he's bound to look a little average every once in a while?
I don't know. I think it's mental, man. Like, that guy's wearing a fucking women purse now. Like, those women purse?
Right.
Who?
That's kind of fishy. I mean, the guy's like, I don't know. He hasn't been to Russia lately, so he's getting all into that new culture thing.
You think the West is rubbing its influence on the Russian crusher?
I don't know, man.
Do you have a picture, by the way, of him with a men purse? Because I'm trying to look for it.
I'll find one. I'll try to find one.
Butcher, I think you're right. He's basically no longer drinking vodka now. He's drinking tequila now.
Exactly. Tequila, man.
I think he's drinking. I think he's drinking too much of that American water, and I think the estrogen level has gone up, and that's why
fluoride and estrogen. Yeah.
I think that's why he's wearing a purse now. But I mean, no. But seriously, I mean, he still punches pretty hard. I think people have forgotten about that, especially his last fight. People were saying, "Oh, was that?"
I think to be honest, he's still dangerous, very dangerous. I think he can beat Bivol. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's a tough guy. I want to see Kovalev War 3, man.
Yeah,
that's unfinished business, in my opinion.
That's definitely unfinished business. But I mean, are we gonna get into the fucking Ward fight again? Because you know where that's going if we start talking about Ward Kovalev.
No, I know.
But
and then Ward now, all of a sudden he shows up. Oh wait, I'm at 190 now, and I'm like all cut and ripped. How the fuck did he get ripped and all cut out of a sudden? Because he said he was retiring, but I guess he spent all this time in the fucking gym. And he bulked up all the way to like a fucking cruiserweight. Give me a break. What the fuck is this guy taking?
He used that time to take all his medicine, man.
Exactly.
That's what he's using that time for.
Wait a minute. Are you guys accusing him of doing PEDs? Is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
No. I'm not gonna stand here and let Ward's name be besmirched. Just not gonna happen. Not on my show. I'll tell you that
he's
much
such
right
a
now.
nice guy. He wouldn't do something like that.
Exactly.
No, of course not. He's a religious guy, anyways, right?
He's the son of God. He's the son of God.
Exactly. He can do no wrong.
By the way,
Son of God. Meanwhile, he's associated with one of the most scariest characters in the music business.
oh yeah, we talked about that. By the way, corruption. Were you there when we were talking about the aforementioned person who will not be named because he could come after all of us? Were you there when we were talking about Andrew Ward's manager?
No, I wasn't, and thank God I wasn't.
But you know who
He's
we're
good
talking.
friends with X.
Oh yeah, X man, X has his tentacles all over the place, right? He's got connections everywhere.
X is a snitch. You gotta understand. He's a bitter, man in his late 30s. He never grew to the size he really thinks, that he in his mind he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Let me ask you
he'll
this.
stab you in the back for his next line. Let's just put it that way.
Let me ask you this.
Matrix, do you mean physically he never grew to that physically or mentally? Is he like 4'10" or something?
Well, I picture X like a guy about 5'8", 160,
Okay.
but like not functional 160. It's like a sloppy. He did a lot of drugs in his time kind of guy.
I like how we're getting into the specifics of what type of 160 pounds we're talking about. He's like 160 pounds of he gets other people to do the job for him, right?
Right. If you're stupid enough, he can get a big guy to, he can brainwash the bigger man that's capable of using his physical strength.
Right. I heard he was responsible for getting Donnell the pimp 13 years plus in the penitentiary. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. But let me ask you this. If X would ever go to county, let's say, would it look a lot like The Wire, where Omar gets sent to county and everybody wants to stab him? Is that how it would be for X? Like he's got so many enemies, he'd have to be in some sort of a special protection program over there?
Something like that. Okay, here's a perfect description. Picture Deontay Wilder's little brother. What's his name? Wallace?
I don't know. I've never met him. I mean, I've never heard of him.
Okay, just picture. I'm gonna say he looks something like that, just a lot smaller.
Okay.
Right. Something like that. Okay. And yeah, he has those kind of problems. Just put it that way.
Okay. And by the way,
he would have to be in protective custody if he was in the joint.
Oh boy.
His younger brother, who was the one who was trying to beat up Dominic Brazil's wife and his kids, yeah?
Did you guys talk about Wilder's comment about him wanting to kill somebody in the ring?
Oh yeah. You mentioned who mentioned that? Who mentioned? No, we didn't talk about that.
Did you guys hear about that? Okay. So for those of you who don't know, Wilder was in this radio show in the US, and he said that he wants a kill in his record. He wants to kill somebody in the ring. Like he's looking forward to it.
Whole interview, I heard the whole thing because it was broadcast on a New York radio station, and it's pretty popular over here in New York. And the guy sounds stupid. He sounds. I know. Wilder fans are gonna hate this, but he sounds gay as fuck when he's saying it too. He's like, "I want a body. I want a body." Like what? What do you talk? What do you mean you want a body? Like what?
I want
do something to it, or then he gets a little bit more specific. Yeah, I want a body under my resume. I want that.
Come on, man.
Dude, you sound stupid.
Any fighter who has the audacity to call his belt Sophia.
Yeah,
it's true.
Guys,
but recognize what do you think Wilder even said that though?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't know exactly, but I would guess that he's saying that because he's trying to appeal to his fans, and maybe he gets some more attention. Ooh, look at the boxer who actually wants to kill somebody in the ring.
Some street cred.
Yeah, some street cred on top of that. Get his fans all wild up. Meanwhile, remember, this is the same guy The guy who wants to kill
Uh,
somebody in the ring, who's worried about his fighter's safety. Let's not forget that.
I certainly hope he doesn't
He's a
have
homo
any
thug, man.
sexual.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever said that, exactly. He's a homo thug. That's what he is.
He's on Instagram getting a mani, as he says, and a petty at the airport. Like, who the fuck does that?
You're joking.
Who gets a manicure and a pedicure at the airport? Like, you really? Come on. Oh, and you know what, guys? Him not going to England, I was thinking. I was reminded of huh?
Faggot. 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 Faggot.
Oh.
Faggot.
I was reminded of Peter Fury not being able to come to US for the Fury Cunningham fight because of his criminal record in the UK. I'm wondering if because of Wilder's criminal record,
Oh, he has a criminal record. For what?
Come on.
Oh yeah, I think
Choking a hooker, smoking, driving with weed, and beating up on Brazil and his wife and his kids.
And you can take that to the bank and collect interest on
we
it.
know of.
Holy shit!
Besides, you'll be allowed in the United Kingdom if you've served a life sentence. Don't worry about that.
You might not be able to leave the US though if you're on probation. That's the
They
problem.
don't let you leave, yeah.
Right. That I heard of. Not that I know from experience, but yeah.
All right, let me tell you this, man. Let me tell you this about Deontay Wilder. Now that I've heard everything, Deontay Wilder, I always thought, well, this is a guy that I respect because he's not the best technically. He knows it, but he's doing the best he can. Now, though, when you talk about him personally, you know, some people say, well, can't you separate the fighter from the person? No, sometimes you can't because we're human beings and you look at the whole package. The fact that he went after Brazil in front of his wife and kids or whatever, that's disgraceful. He choked a hooker. Then again, look, listen, I don't take the word of a hooker over somebody else, but if the court proved that and they sentence him or convicted him of him, that's sorry, but that's the legal.
Listen, just look at that comment he just made. You know this guy's fucking
exactly.
a
I mean,
disgusting human being, man.
At
You know,
what
I
point?
made a video on the other BDA channel, and this guy, he's like, "Why are you talking about Wilder like that? You're calling him a degenerate." Well, he's all fucking getting into his feelings. Like, what is he, your brother or something? Your father? Like, get over it. He's fucking like, yeah. And then like now this came out. Him saying that Wilder saying that he wants to kill somebody. I wonder what this guy's gonna fucking say now.
Mm-hmm.
He's fucking.
Oh
defender.
no, they love it. They love
They
that.
probably love it. Yeah.
They're like, I mean, I've already watched. I don't mention their names because they're just idiots. But I saw one video like, you see, this is a man that doesn't play any games. You know, something to that effect. It's like he's a man that doesn't play any games. And I'm like, oh, are you talking about the same guy that's worried about his fighter's safety?
Yeah, this guy is gonna go to jail and blame the system after it, man.
Well, I have to say this. Because hold on. This is the thing.
Going back to what.
But hold on. I just want to say one thing. About Wilder because this is the type of thing that I hate about people. Because after the fights, he's like, first of all, I want to thank God. You know, I want to thank God that nobody was hurt, seriously hurt, and that we're coming out of this okay. Blah blah blah. And then he does an interview. He goes, "I want to kill somebody." Now, okay. Playing devil's advocate, was he trying to hype up the fight by saying something outrageous and something like that? Maybe. But the fact that his other precedents, things he's done before, speak for themselves. I don't think this is a very nice guy. Again, if you want to root for that type of person, that's fine. But you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and wonder why you're rooting for somebody who's acting in such a despicable fashion. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm not.
You know, okay, going back to the whole thing of taking somebody's personal life and whether you can separate what they do outside the ring. I'll give you an example, like Mike Tyson. I like Mike Tyson, right? I thought he was an exciting fighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe he really wanted to kill somebody. I really do believe that he wanted to. Maybe he never said it just outright and say, I want to kill him. I think he did, but if he didn't, right? You knew he wanted to kill someone. What I respected about Mike Tyson, he was willing to get killed in return.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what he was. He never complained. I mean, he took ass whippings. I mean, Lennox Lewis beat the living crap out of him. He leaned all over Mike Tyson. He punched Tyson's he almost like ripped his eye off. He was willing to never complained about drug testing. He didn't care what the other guy was taking or anything like that. You see, Wilder is one of those guys, right? And I don't know if it's just him or it's just the people that control him, right? If anybody's a slave, it's more likely him. Wilder's one of those guys that, I want to kill somebody. I want to, I want to end somebody's life. I want to, knock them into a coma, whatever. But the whole Povetkin, the whole Ortiz, the first time around, that kind of just it doesn't sit well with me. And then on top of that, when you hear how he jumped, look, anybody.
Hold on. Recognize. Could you speak a little bit louder because we're having a hard time hearing you, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Precise was making noise, I think.
Oh,
no, I think he's not speaking close to the mic. Anyway.
No, I was gonna say people that jump, like when they jump people, right? When you have like a group of 10 or 20 jumping on 3, you're a coward. That to me, that's a sure sign that you're a coward, and taking pride in that, and so for him to be a part of, from everything that I've heard, against Dominic Brazil and his family. Now, if it's true that his family was there, think about what kind of person would do something like that. He's a coward. And to me, if he was involved with that, he's a coward. And a lot of his personality traits, I see him as a coward, and I really don't like him. I mean, is he exciting to watch in the ring? Yeah, he is. He is pretty exciting.
Look,
I mean, he's either gonna knock you out or you're gonna knock him out.
Look, man, he's talking about killing someone while he's getting ready to fight a 13-fight novice with no defense. Come on.
Right, he might kill that guy. That might be the guy that he actually kills.
Yeah, he's a pussy. He picks on smaller guys that aren't that good, inexperienced, whatever. He doesn't really want to fight anyone very, very threatening and dangerous. Like
he's insecure. You want to kill somebody to feel like a big guy. That means you're insecure, man.
Right. Yeah, that's what Recognize said that all his actions are indicative of somebody that's a mental midget. It's not that
giant in size, but mentally very small. Yeah.
Well, Recognize.
do you see Klitschko saying that shit? Any the 2 Klitschkos? Would you imagine them saying they want to kill somebody?
Well, but it's not about.
It would be.
Yeah, but it's not about whether who would say.
Klitschko would have never gotten away with that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's. I mean, nobody should be getting away with it.
Who everybody thinks is Russian, right? Would have gone out there and said, "I want to kill somebody in the ring." They would have boycotted him. He's this and he's a white supremacist and all this stuff. Come on.
Yeah, but my point is that nobody should get away with it. I don't care. I don't know. You bring up Klitschko. I don't care about Klitschko. I care about what Wilder said. Now, I want to ask Corruption, because I don't know. I don't think you were here when we talked about it. But speaking about Wilder, he actually, I don't know if you guys remember, he got into that fight with Charlie Zelenoff, who by all indications is a schizophrenic. But because he said something about Wilder's daughter, Wilder decided to get into a sparring match with him. Not inside the ring, mind you, outside of a ring in a gym with little gloves, no hand wraps, I believe. And he's fighting a civilian who he outweighs by 100 pounds or more and who's a schizophrenic. Corruption, what's your take on... is Corruption gone? Yeah, people dropped off.
We got kicked out for a reason.
Yeah, I got kicked out for a second too. I don't know if it's where I'm at. I'm at work. But...
No, it was me.
Corruption.
I mean, we all got kicked out.
Okay, Corruption is back. We were just waiting for Precise to come up. But Corruption, did you hear the question that I asked?
No, even your hangout with this strange thing of the CIA is trying to pick my connection.
Yeah, maybe Wilder's fans are digging into the connection. Now, my question was, because we talked about Wilder last week, about how he beat up a schizophrenic, Charlie Zelenoff, because he had the audacity to say, the schizophrenic had the audacity to say something about his daughter, and he ended up fighting Deontay Wilder in a gym. Mind you, this is a guy who Wilder outweighs by 100 pounds and who is not a professional athlete. So everything we've been saying about Wilder, what's your take on Wilder? I mean, yes, he's good for business, but outside of the ring, I mean, is it fair to root against him because of his personality and his character?
He's trash, man.
I mean, I would be a hypocrite. You know, I mean, I once beat up a 3-foot midget. So I'm in no position.
Oh, fuck.
He once beat up a what midget? What did you say? I think he said.
Yeah, I was waiting for a cab once, and a midget just came in my way. He tried to nick my cab, so I gave him a couple of body shots, and
Trying to upstream you.
Why you not entertained?
That is outrageous.
Oh, I hate when people try to upstream you, man.
So you beat up a midget. I think they're called little people now.
Yeah, but hold on.
Little people.
Are you sure it was a midget or was it just a really short guy?
Like a dwarf?
Yeah.
Like Tyrion Lannister?
I'm serious. The guy had a beard and a moustache. I'm sure it was a midget.
Now, was it the type of midget that did he try to headbutt you in the nuts, or did he try to defend? What did he try to do to you?
He tried to sort of come around. Well, it doesn't matter, I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean,
of course it matters. It's a midget.
Do you feel like killing a midget now?
I laid him out and CCTV caught the footage, so there's a couple of warrants out there.
Oh boy!
Hence why
I'll tell you what, though.
Hence why I had to leave the.
My goodness gracious! Well, there you go. We have the greatest panelists in the world. One that gets into a fight with me. I mean, you can't top that. No pun intended. But my goodness gracious.
I once hit somebody that I felt bad about. I hit a girl one time in a fight, and I was in a fight, and she kept jumping in for her boyfriend, right? I mean, what can you do in that situation, right? She's like punching me, like literally throwing punches, and so I took a swing and I hit her, and that's the only time that I would ever. When I look back at it now, could I have pushed her away or something? Maybe, right? I could have pushed her away, and maybe she would have felt the force.
Maybe she wanted to get hit.
I think, well, yeah, that too, because she kept punching when her boyfriend was getting his ass whipped, and
yeah, so she's
turned around, and I turned around, and like an instinct, boom. But to like go after somebody that's much weaker than you, or in a bad situation, you got 5 or 10 guys with you, and there's like 2 guys, and you jump on them. That's a sign of weakness. Like the guy talking about he beat up a midget. That's the heat of a moment thing, right? Maybe the midget, I don't know. Maybe he was too aggressive the way he was going at him. Said, wait a second, I'm not gonna put up with this shit.
Corruption. Did the midget to bite you?
Sorry?
Did he try to bite you?
No. Possible. I thought he was just trying to grab my wallet, but it was just reactionary.
It sounds to me like corruption doesn't really want to talk about this.
Was he aggressive towards you? Was he like coming at you aggressively?
Yeah. Literally.
That can throw that when somebody's coming at you very aggressive. You never know how you might react. You just, like I said, I punched the girl because she punched me like 3 times in my face, and I wasn't gonna let her do it the 4th time.
It's almost reactionary when
reactionary. Yep. After that one puncher is just
somebody on the blind side. But when I sort of look round, the guy was as big as a garden gnome. So I thought, oh shit, what have I done here?
When you punched him,
people are asking if you were in a circus.
Let me ask you something. When you punched the midget, did gold come out of his pockets? And if so, did you collect the gold?
You got it, BDA. Spot on.
All right. Listen, enough talk about midgets because we're gonna get taken off YouTube. I mean, we're already saying things. Every episode, we always come up with something controversial.
Arthur Spilka would look like a midget against Wilder, and he was outboxing him.
No, BDA, seriously, it wasn't free. It was about 4'5" or something like that.
Now you're backtracking. Now you're backtracking. I'll say this, man.
If I go down on this one, I'm taking everybody with me.
I'm not going down by myself, man. You were all witnesses here. I never said anything controversial. I didn't gangbang a midget. That was corruption in boxing, all right? So let's get that straight. But getting back to the issue at hand, we were talking about Wilder beating up a schizophrenic,
Yes.
taking on a guy, bad-mouthing a guy, and calling his wife a bitch, right in the open in public, choking a prostitute or hooker, if you want to be politically correct. I mean, sex worker. And then now going ahead and saying that he wants to kill a man. I mean, seriously, anybody can feel free to say whatever they want, just like we have the right to judge that person based on their character. And right now, Wilder is showing poor character. So again, I ask you, is it fair to not separate the man from the fighter, but to judge it all as a complete package? Come on.
Depends.
Go ahead.
On the, like I said before with the Mike Tyson situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, because the reason why I'm asking this is... Yeah, go ahead, Bucho, go ahead.
Can I say something? Okay, because I think Mike Tyson did say he wanted to kill somebody.
Tyson,
I forgot.
You know,
he did say he wanted to kill somebody. I forgot who it was. But anyways, he did say that. But at the same time, you can understand because Mike Tyson was fucked up back then, right? Like you knew he was fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But Wilder, it looks like he's faking, you know, the craziness.
Right.
It's not legit. He's trying to be a big man. Like they're all gonna kill you and shit. I want to kill somebody. But Tyson, you knew he was in a shit place in his life, right?
Mm-hmm. Now
Wilder, it's fake. It's like you can. What I'm trying to say is that you can tell he's fucking faking it.
Based on the fact that it might be fake, does that make it worse? Does that make the
because it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
I tell you the one thing that made me like that made me look at Tyson differently is when he went on that rant, and I think it was the Lewis fight, the promotion of the Lewis fight, and he told somebody, he told a man this, "I'll fuck you until you love me, ho."
Yeah.
That was kind of like, wait a second, you really meant that when you said it.
Exactly. Yeah, he said it from the heart. He said it from the heart. He spoke it loud and proud. Let me tell you.
Issues there.
Oh yeah. It sounded like it sounded genuine. He spoke from the heart in that one. You could tell, man. And but
he's almost crying. He said it. He's almost crying.
It's true. Yeah.
Then again, you got to remember the guy was coked out of his mind at that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We understand where he was in his life. He's fucked up. But Wilder, it's like out of nowhere, he comes out with like, "Oh, I want to kill this guy." It's like,
right.
Come on, guys.
Now, the reason why I bring up the question about whether we should separate the fighter from the man outside of the ring is because the Deontay Wilder fans, the Wilder sexuals, as people in the chat like to call them, they're gonna come out. They're gonna say, "Well, so what if he said that?" First of all, this is sport. This is entertainment in a way. You know, it's show business. You gotta be able to sell yourself. And second of all, why would you root? Why would that preclude? Why would that make you root against him? Well, why not? I mean, aren't we human beings? Once you step into the ring, you're no longer. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, a lot. Sorry, man, but because a lot of people are always. I debate these people. They go like, "Oh no! You have to separate what happens inside the ring and outside the ring."
Mm-hmm.
Now, this fucking position started with Floyd Mayweather because he's a fucking shitty person outside the ring, right?
Mm.
So his fans they came up with this thing where like, oh no, you have to separate what goes outside the ring and inside the ring. So I like Mayweather because of what he does inside the ring, you know, his defensive skills, but I put aside what he does outside the ring. I'm like, okay, fine, you can do that, but I can't root for a guy who's a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't know what you guys think about that, though.
That's my point, man. That's my point.
No, I agree with that.
BDA, you know what it is with Deontay Wilder? Look, there's been so many incidents now, so it's not really been a one-off event. So it's not like an aberration. But one thing about Deontay, which and forgive me, I don't know him too well or what transpires in the US, but he's an extremely emotional character.
Yeah.
And hence, he'll, if you look at some of the comments he made after when Eddie Hearn has appeared on television, podcast, whatever, he goes on a seething rant on his own social media, etc. When sometimes when he's conducted, I saw a few interviews he did when he appeared once on the UFC and certain other. He was talking about role plays he was doing with women. It was some absolutely bizarre conversations. He was just talking about his sort of sexual proclivities. And one of the other interviews I saw, he went on a vicious rampage and a tirade where he was talking about the same thing. The frustration of not having fights or whatever. He was going to end up, killing him or beating him up. So, his emotions fluctuate. So it's a combination of a little bit of adolescence, immaturity, emotion, frustration. Whether the perception that in the States that they tend to use these sort of emotions and elements to promote fights or try and develop his character in that sense that he's the heel, Joshua is the good guy, etc. So there's various angles in which you can look at it, but he's notorious and infamous for doing these. So it seems almost inherent within his psyche. It's just that sort of a wild, emotional personality.
Right.
He's stupid. He should be promoted by Eddie Hearns. He'll do a better job, man.
Well, that's
been
leave
whoever's promoting him now and join Eddie Hearns. He'll do a better job.
Yeah, that's been the argument.
He has the personality. He has the personality that these shit fans love. I mean, let's be honest, they like him. There needs to be more exposure for him, and I think Eddie Hearns will be the right person that can, if anything, just to sell him as the villain, the antithesis of Anthony Joshua, total opposite of what Joshua is supposed to be like,
But come on, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I understand, and I'm not saying that you're saying what I'm about to say. But is Joshua really the baby face in this whole situation? Because he seems like and I mean, he's pretty good with the fans, and you don't see him choking hookers or getting into altercations with people's families. But is he really the good guy in this situation?
I mean, I don't know, but I heard maybe one of the guys that are on here could speak on it better because they're from over there. But I heard he was a drug dealer or something like that.
I heard that too.
He was a shotter, as they call him over here. Back in he grew up in Watford. I think he's still over there, but yeah, young sort of Nigerians out and about, selling bags of weed, getting their supplies from corruption in boxing, so they can start distributing.
Yeah, getting that when they're in the UK, they get it from corruption in boxing. When they're in the United States, they get it from X. Isn't that right? We got all the context.
Calling directly for them, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we like.
I thought X would like him. This guy was a X pusher, whatever, and no, you don't like him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame, man, because they might have a lot in common. But yeah, all of that to say that, I mean, because that's my whole thing. Because some people, like Bucha was explained better than I did in less words, which is that why can't you separate the man? I mean, why should you separate the man from the boxer? Because at the end of the day, boxing, it's not like you step into some magical realm or another dimension where what you do there doesn't count. You're in the ring, you're still a man, and what you said outside of the ring counts on whether we want to root for you or not, or whether we want to dislike you or not. And the fact that some people enjoy Wilder's antics, such as his latest comment about how he wants to kill a man, I mean, look, whether it's bravado or not, if you're into that type of stuff, then that speaks a lot about you. And it doesn't speak good things. Let's just put it that way. All right, guys.
Yeah, but okay, for example, like I like Manny Pacquiao, right? A lot of people like Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
Let's just say, in the next couple of months, a story comes out about him that he's like this guy who goes on coke binges and screws around on his wife all the time and beats her up when she complains about it. For example, so I think we do that. We just never find out about fighters that we like.
Yeah, I agree. Well, first of all, didn't Pacquiao used to do all of that?
Out there, he's telling people who he is, and you don't really have to do any digging, right?
Right. Yeah, but that's the thing.
You don't have to wait for a story to come out about him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, that also depends on how careful you are and how good your PR representative is. But by the way, Manny Pacquiao was notorious for going to bars, flipping tables over. Well, I mean, I read that he did that one time, allegedly, and that he would go to cockfights, which, are pretty popular over in the Philippines. And then at some point, he was having marital troubles because he was cheating around on his wife. And then that's why he became so much of the hardcore Christian that he is now. But Pacquiao is another guy that's he's got a couple of dark spots on his resume, if you know what I mean. So, like you said, it's everybody has something, or most people have something, especially when they have so much money, and they tend to attract the wrong people, and then sometimes they make the wrong choices. But most of these guys have something in their closet, a couple of skeletons in their closet. It's just that some of them never come out. Like for example, Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev killed a man in the ring, and yeah, they say he feels bad about it, but then he went ahead and tried to do the same thing to Jean Pascal in the rematch, because essentially Jean Pascal offended him. So Kovalev is another guy that if it came out that he was a bad guy or that he did this or that, I wouldn't be surprised. You got some real psychos in boxing.
But listen, these guys are fighters, right?
Right.
This is what they do. They're not your like typical average people that usually settle disputes without fighting. In other words, these guys they probably already had it in them that they're fighters. Most of them, not all of them. I'm not going to say all of them, but most of these guys have they just have a love for getting into fights, and maybe they do it so good that they get some exposure and somebody recognizes them and takes them into the boxing gym and they have a great career. So I don't really like Kovalev killing somebody and maybe instinct kicked in and he wanted to kill Pascal, right? I don't really see anything for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to be a fan of this because he tried to kill Pascal, right? It's how you behave, how you conduct yourself, like on live TV and the things you say, the bullshit, I want to kill a man and me and my friends beat up, me and 10 of my friends beat up on 2 guys and
a midget.
His wife was there and a midget, right?
Yes.
Right, like corruption, beating up on a midget.
Right.
I can't respect that. Come on.
No, you make a good point, and you raise. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like that. I like people who can conduct themselves like a gentleman outside the ring, right? Regardless if they have things that they don't want people to know about, like Anthony Joshua, for example, right? I like the way Anthony Joshua, for the most part, I like his mannerisms. Would it surprise me that this guy has a history of violence? Not at all. But he's not promoting it. He's not saying, look, I'll kill you, if you talk to me stupid outside and I want to kill somebody in the ring. He's not doing that.
Yeah, listen, you raise a very good question about that we should expect a certain amount of violent behavior from guys that do it for a living, right? I mean, we often hear that fighters aren't normal. They're not normal because they do.
Yeah, BDA. I'm only 4'8", so the midget was only giving away 4 inches. So
okay. Well, there you go. Well, it's me. It's like my situation. I once slapped a guy, an Asian guy was getting in my face, and I slapped him, and it turns out he wasn't Asian. He had Down syndrome, and I should have known he had Down syndrome because I did it in a charity function, for people with mental handicaps. So that was my fault. But then again, like I always tell people, you take a couple of IQ points away from me, I'm basically retarded myself, so I didn't really do anything wrong. But the point is this, and you brought up a good point about the fighters, right? Like we should expect them to be mean, but at the same time, and this is again, this isn't an official rule, but once the fight is over and you went toe to toe with somebody, or 12 rounds, or however amount of rounds it went, you should put everything behind you. That's the unwritten rule of boxing, is that okay, once we fight, we can shake hands, or at least we can be cordial, or more cordial than we were before. I'll give you an example. The Charlos don't do that. They take things personally, and they take them beyond after the fight. Even if they win and they knock somebody out, they still want to get in their face and talk smack. That, again, that's based on emotion, that's based on emotional immaturity. But you like to see these guys that tend to be a little more rational or human once the fight is done, that they understand that this is a business, that it's nothing personal. I remember Mike Tyson, when he fought, I think it was Bone Crusher Smith, there was a lot of smack talk prior to that fight. And again, Mike Tyson, like we said before, very volatile character, especially in those days. But then once the bell rang to signify the end of the fight, of the 12th round, he actually was the first one to hug Bone Crusher Smith. So it's like, hey, you know what? Everything went by. We fought. Nobody got seriously hurt. Fine. Let bygones be bygones. It's these guys like Charlo and Wilder who can't let things go. Those are the guys that worry me a little bit, and that I tend not to root for. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that.
But BDA, in sort of defense to the Charlos, like their justification for their antics post-fight was because when the fight was made and being promoted, they were, or they claimed that they were relatively reserved. They were keeping their mouth shut, and it was, Erickson Lubin and certainly Julian Williams before the fight, when he fought Jamel, he was extremely vocal. He was condemning him as a novice, as an amateur, all sorts of vocal sort of insults. So to me, it's fine if you keep your mouth shut during the promotion and you prevail at the end. And I think you've got every justification to start, going on the tirade. I've got no problem with that.
Well, that's a valid argument. My counter argument would be actions speak louder than words. Once you actually knocked somebody out or beat him and showed that you were the best man, that speaks louder than any type of word you could ever utter. So, I mean, you're right. There's no rule against talking smack after the fight to somebody that did it constantly to you. But I just think that's my position. I don't know, maybe, I don't know if there's such a thing as being right or wrong in this situation. All I know is that I tend to respect fighters more once they beat somebody and they keep their mouth shut and say, there, all that smack talk that you did prior to the fight, it meant nothing, and now we're done, But then again, that's just my position. I'm not saying you're wrong, because what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, once you have a fight with somebody, and the fight's over, you knock him out, or let's say you lose, right?
Right.
You're pissed off. Okay, fine. He, at least to me, right? If no matter how much I don't like that person, I don't like them. I really want to kick their ass real bad. But if that person beats me, and they gave me a one-on-one fight, right? I can say, hey, look, I can respect him because he fought me like a man. He didn't run. He didn't try to, he didn't try to use illegal tactics or anything dirty. It was just a fair fight, and he wins. You're supposed to respect that person and not be a sore loser. Also, I don't like sore winners, right? Somebody gets knocked out and they're, like, I told you this motherfucker's a bum, and I hope he, fuck him, and this, like, on and on and on. Like, I don't, that kind of behavior. I could like the knockout, but that kind of behavior is not going to make me root for you. Like the Charlos, when you were talking about them, right? Like, I don't like either one of those guys, right? Although in the ring, they're kind of fun to watch. They usually win by knockouts. Well, the big one. But outside the ring, you can tell this is an emotional child, right? I mean, he's talking about beating up on little Gervonta Davis. That's who he really is. That's who he really is.
Exactly.
He would beat up Gervonta Davis if given the opportunity. You know, who's 5'5", and Jamal Charlo is what, 6 feet 6'1".
He's 5'5". Come on, man. He's not a midget, man.
He's not a midget. You know what I'm saying? He's not the guy that corruption beat up, but you know, that's pretty small, right? I'm 6'2". I would never beat up a guy who's 5'5" unless you know he's coming at me, you know, and there's nothing I could do about it. I have to defend
6'2",
myself.
yeah? I'm only 4'8", man. So you know.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's pretty even.
Wait a minute, corruption. Are
but,
you?
No, I'm not gonna go after a guy who's.
But 68 amateur fights, so yeah, you can't beat another midget with that, man.
Yeah, that's true. No, but what recognize the. Yeah, what recognize the Matrix said is very true. I mean, and it's what I was trying to say, but he said it in a better way, which is if a guy, the way a guy acts after the fight, if he's a sore winner, that's gonna affect the way you look at him. I mean, it turns you off. Now again, that's my position. I have the right to root against somebody or to root for him. But if you're acting, like he said, like an emotional child who wants to beat up on people because they smack talked you on Twitter or on Facebook, I'm sorry, I don't root for people like that. And I root for people that I can respect outside of the ring.
Yeah, you've got a fair point, and the one bad thing that Jamal Charlo did against J-Rock was after he had viciously knocked him out, and obviously it's ultimate humiliation for J-Rock, who was the favorite, sort of some of the bookies going into the fight. He was more vocal in the promotion. He'd been viciously knocked out, so he was obviously feeling humiliated. And when he went over to Jamal after the fight, Jamal wouldn't even console him. They just sort of pushed him away.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
That element was, there was no need for that. If he was, obviously the testosterone was still flying around. He was highly emotional. He made them comments that, look, I didn't say anything to him during the build-up, but he was the one who was attacking me. So, the emotion was lingering over. You can understand that, but at least, Williams had the humbleness to say, look, I was a beaten man. I'll come over and I'll console you, congratulate you, whatever else. And Jamal should have reciprocated there. So that was the one.
Yeah, I would have not even mind if Jamal Charlo would have came up to him, like, right after the knockout. Williams comes up to him and tries to shake his hand. Shake his hand, be like, "You okay? Yeah. Everything's fine? Yeah." And then look at him and say, "I got you." Right? Like, say he felt a certain way about the way he was talking about him through the buildup of the fight. Right? You go up to him and be like, "You okay? Yeah. Good fight. And yeah, I got you."
Exactly.
You could rub it in his face that way. You could be like, "Hey, for all that stuff you were saying, yeah, I got you at the end."
Exactly. Good point.
There's just ways of doing things. There's just ways of doing things, and stupid people don't know how to do it. And I see the Charlos, especially the bigger twin. I see him as very emotional, and it's hard to root for guys like that. That's my take on it.
It's a very good take, and I think that's the takeaway lesson of tonight. Like you said, stupid people tend to act in a stupid fashion, or they tend to react or handle things in a dumb fashion. I don't think we should be surprised about that. But then again, I mean, like I said, just to finish off the point here, which is if somebody talks smack to you and you beat him up in the ring, well, why would you keep on talking if you've already proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that words are meaningless when you step into that ring? So that's my position.
There's a difference between the streets and in the ring when everybody's making money, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the streets, somebody's coming at you in a threatening way, and you knock his ass out, and you say, "Punk ass motherfucker," after you knock him out. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. I mean, hey, listen, the guy, you never know what could happen. Maybe he wanted to do the same thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're fighting for money. This is money. Both guys are getting it. They're getting their own share of the pot. There's no need to be like that. You could, like I said, I mean, I don't mind being a little bit braggadocious and be like, "Hey, that's right, I knocked him out."
Mm-hmm.
But it's how you do it. Like not wanting to shake his hand. I mean, what did Williams do to you that you don't want to shake his hand?
Exactly. Good point.
That he's gonna beat you? Is that so bad?
Exactly. Very good point. I mean, like you said, in the street, maybe the person was gonna, if he knocks you out, maybe he keeps stomping on you. You never know. So there, I understand. But after in a fight where it's nothing personal, it's just business, and you're handling it in a personal manner, as if you took it personally. Hey, you have the right to do that, but then again, that's on you, and it just shows that you have a lack of armor, emotional armor around you. Guys, this was a BDA podcast, man. We've been on for 3 hours. First of all, before we go, let's see what people in the chat room are saying, because I haven't checked the chat room in a long time. Apology Man says 4'8" corruption in boxing is jacked. Pop Tart Gun says Beyond Gay Walden equals Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern Show. Chris Gonzalez says Gervonta Davis has a screw loose. Yeah, he's not 100% there either. Boxing Style says Mama Wilder didn't give Wilder enough titty. That's a high possibility right there. That would explain a lot, by the way. Apology Man says, where was Daddy Wilder? That's a good question.
Not around.
Not around, maybe. Lily H says, also you have to consider correlation versus causation. People who choose to be a fighter as a career generally aren't the same as the average Joe. More rough around the edges take more risk, and now you add CTE to that. Yeah, CTE, that's the trauma on the brain, which might make you more aggressive later on. So that's a good point, and we touched on some of those topics there when we're talking about Wilder. Boxing Style says he didn't get some milk, so he started choking some hookers. Cthulhu Sisu says, notice that Hearn and Higgins are such good mates now. They both definitely roasted Michelle Joey Phelps. Yeah, that Michelle Joey Phelps, man. If I'm her husband or fiancé or whatever, I'd keep my eye on her when she's around Eddie Hearn and Higgins, I should say.
If anybody in the chat can hook me up with some HGH, I'm hoping to finally get to 5 feet.
Well, you know what you can do? You can go to a nuclear power plant, get some radiation on your brain, get a tumor so that it puts some pressure on your glands, and then that way you can grow up and be a 7-footer. Why not? All right, listen, guys. I want to thank Corruption in Boxing and Recognize the Matrix, who stayed on for almost a full 3 hours. You guys are hardcore. Let me tell you that much right now. I also want to thank Cameron, who was here earlier. I also want to thank Precise Puncher, who was here also. Don't forget to check out Corruption in Boxing's YouTube channel. We're going to put the link in the description. Don't forget to check out Precise Puncher's channel. Don't forget to check out Cameron's Twitter account. We're also going to put a link there where you can see all of his work. Recognize, do you have something you want to plug? Recognize, you want to plug anything? Any websites, any side businesses, any messages you want us to relay from X? No? Is he still there or is he gone? Anyway. And also I have to tell you guys, don't forget to subscribe to our main channel, BDA. Also don't forget to subscribe to this one. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notifications. Recognize the Matrix. Russian colluder says, recognize the Matrix, the JQ. All right. I also want to thank Bucho, who had to leave. Oh, Precise is back. Precise, we're just saying our farewell. Any last words you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I was just checking out Dwyer's video, and man, he's pissed off that they didn't give Parker the decision. But yeah, good show. Nice
All right.
show.
Well, you guys make it a good show. You guys make it a good show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
As always, man, and I'm looking forward to watch your video on your channel, your full take on the fight we just saw tonight. Corruption, anything you want to say before we go?
No, I think I've said enough.
All right, I agree with you.
Sorry
I've said.
that. Did you guys hear that?
Hear what?
Sorry about that.
Heard what? All right.
I dropped my phone from the third. I dropped my phone. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. All right, listen. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat room as well. We got to give a shout outs to everybody in the chat room. Russian Colluder, Fam Oli, Boxing Style, Apology Man, Fight Fan Phil, The Punisher, DC Stormich, Boxing Style, Pop Tart Gun, Matias Lees, The Shepherd of Sons, Akuma's Deception was El Cachnello, Give Me My Fight, John Gonzalez, Rotti Davis. Who else am I missing? Aaron Kuko. Jimmy's Corner was here as well for a brief time. Lily H. Come on, I gotta get through all of these names. Boxing Style, Apology Man. Mateus Lees. Anyway, you guys know who you are. If I forget anyone, I'm sorry, but I have to sort through this list. You got Mark Stokes as well. Aaron Kuko was there. He just posted something. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Glad to have you on board. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell us what we got right, what we got wrong. Give us your suggestions for great videos. And not a lot of boxing until I think about 2 weeks from now. So next shows we'll have to find something to talk about. We'll make do. We'll talk about beating up mentally handicapped people and midgets some more. And again, we'll improvise. All right. So guys, thank you for joining us. Recognize the Matrix Corruption. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care.
Okay.
See you guys.